Hello, Mechwarriors, and welcome to the Mechbay, where we fix your mech and fix your game. What's going on, Mechwarriors? I'm your host, Josh, and I've got my co-host, Dustin, in the command cockpit with me.
How's it going, fellas?
I don't know. What is Denham doing?
I'm feeling left out, guys. Just
I'm
a
sorry.
little bit left out.
Aw. Did we forget to cram you in the cockpit too?
I mean, I know your super heavy tripod has 3 cockpits. I assume you've got one of them crammed full with a keg or something.
Oh my gosh. We should all just load up in the super heavy.
The third pilot seat was taken up with salted butter, so.
Oh,
gross. That's it. I'm out.
But we, at least 2 of us, are back from Southern Assault 2022, the Battletech Tournament of the year. And we are here to give you the recap to make you feel like you were there in person or in mech, depending on how you feel. It'll be just like a trip to the simulators.
All right.
But we've been out of the game for a little bit because, well, tournament prep takes priority. So let's get that battle mech coolant flowing with some hobby news, hobby progress, and some fan mail. Because we have some big, well, I don't want to say big, large, maybe assault size news. We've missed a lot, so we need to catch up.
Girthy news.
God, I hate you so much. So the first big news is the Kickstarter date has been announced for March 23rd, 2023. So everyone who originally said, third quarter 2022, aka Catalyst, was wrong.
I think it was that there's a limit on like the number of Kickstarters you're allowed to run at one time or something that they ran into.
No, but I think that them pushing it back means that you'll still be getting the stuff at the same time, just because there won't be as many delays. That's my opinion.
I'm not like official or anything, but from looking and seeing, I think they have all this stuff lined up ahead of time. And then, why not run the Kickstarter, get the capital to pay the factory and your order size without an interest? It's smart. Might as well do it.
I think the big thing is they hadn't announced all of the things that would be in it yet. There were still some mystery mechs and mystery units. So I think the organization wasn't actually complete. I think they were working on some other stuff, especially with the Leviathans Kickstarter deployment that took a lot of brain power. And I know they've had some other stuff with their Rome Kickstarter. So they had a lot of buns in the oven. And I think they were like, we have to get the Battletech one right because that's the main course. So let's just delay it until all the other buns are out of the oven. Then the oven can just be Battletech.
That's right. I'm excited for this one. I will probably just go ahead and fork out the money ahead of time and get the stuff on the first wave. This time, instead of waiting, I thought I could wait for wave 2. I did wait. I don't regret my decision, but hindsight, I think I'll throw down.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
But they will be announcing the Kickstarter in full at Adepticon. So they will be there. So they're going to be at a con announcing it. Paranoia. Josh says, will there be things to do at Adepticon? I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? They haven't said anything. They just say, stay tuned to Adepticon.com for future news surrounding all the games and events you can experience with Battletech and Leviathans. There might be Battletech at Adepticon is how I read that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, there's going to be Battletech at Adepticon.
Look, if you're announcing your Battletech Kickstarter at a con, I really hope there's going to be Battletech at said con, because that'd just be really sad.
I would assume that they're going to have some sort of the grinder there, which is super popular, amongst other things.
We've got 4 months. Do we have enough time to sell all the things in the Mechbay hangars to get enough to get what we want?
I think we just sell 1 Greyhound and we'll be good for everybody.
Oh.
60 million C-bills, a lot of C-bills.
Those XXL engines don't pay for themselves.
That's right.
I don't know. Not in today's economy. 60 million doesn't go as far as it used to.
That's right.
Oh, it hurts because it's true.
Back in my day.
Yeah. But no, I'm excited. Like I said, I think we've known, at least from Kerensky Con, from all the little events they've put on, we've seen, and we've seen what they want to put out, like 80% wise, and we haven't seen that last 20%. And that's, I don't want to say it's going to be like the decision maker, but depending on how good that last 20% is, I think they want to make sure it gets done right.
What kind of extras are they going to put out? Like, they had the challenge coins, they had the crappy dice.
Look, just because my octagons, my octagon dice have 8 sides.
They've only got 6 numbers, but they've got 8 sides. I don't know. I don't understand it.
Dustin's like rubbing his eyes just from the shame. But yeah, that's enough for that. But yeah, so we got to wait on the Kickstart. That's fine. I think you were right that it being delayed will still get us the delivery date that we all know. And it's just, they just want to have shipping orders and all that done. I think all the companies proved, all right, this is going to draw a lot of money, so we're okay, doing things up front.
Yeah, that's good. It is.
All right, let's move on to some other news, some shorter term news. We got new recognition guides out.
Hey, I'm a huge fan of these recognition guides.
Are you?
I am.
They got vehicles.
Yeah, we have Rec Guide 25 and Rec Guide 26.
Yeah, 26 came out today. Look at that, dating the podcast again.
Oh, I hate it. How do you like that new Demolisher, Dustin, in Rec Guide 25?
That's nice.
Just nice. Just nice.
Just nice. It's the cell one. Does it have 2 UAC 20s? That's
yes.
nice.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
2 UAC 20s, a supercharger.
A supercharger to go like what? To go 6?
Something.
It's like a 3.5, and that takes it to 3.6.
Something like that.
The doubles your normal movement.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a lot of extra C-bills for one more movement. But I guess when it comes in handy, it's important.
Hey, when you get that extra MP on if you're moving on paved terrain, like, ooh.
If you spend all the movement on pavement, you get your +1 for wheeled and tracked.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah. I'm more the Bulldog. That's Bulldog sculpt is looking choice. The Demolisher sculpt is. Ooh, I'll see it. I'll see it when I have it in my hands. I'm kind of like the Demolisher sculpt is one of the oldie but goodies in my opinion. So I'm like, do we need to improve on it? But we'll see when I have it in hand.
It's one of those that looks best in plastic.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so a bunch of cool stuff for rec guides. I like that they're coming out with new rec guides. I'm a little surprised they are coming out without plastic attached, like to them.
But a lot of them have the new art, so new plastic is coming.
Yeah.
Or at least resin. Or metal. Metal, plastic, resin. Yes.
Pick your favorite, product. All right. Yeah, so we missed the blackout Gray Monday of Master Unit List, where it went down and everyone was like, bro, where's my Master Unit List? I got a tournament to make lists for.
It was like a week and a half before tournament time or submission time or something. Yeah. And I was like, this would be, and I had to make an adjustment to my list. Come on, guys. But it worked out.
Do you guys not just have cards? But yeah, so there's some Master Unit List changes. We've got upgraded points cost for Jump Strong. We have damage modifications for like some low damage things like battle armor and vehicles. So a lot of short damage and some medium special damage has been changed. So if you had a list you really loved, there's a good chance it's not valid for whatever your point value is anymore.
Oof.
Oh.
Yeah, I will say this. My Southern Assault list I took is already illegal.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that these changes happened after.
Yeah. I could see them looking at Southern Assault going, let's see, this is suspicious. So let's see everybody's list to win and see if we can't nerf some of those.
Bro, that'd be real messed up. Yeah. I will purposely do bad so my favorite units get reductions. But that's not how this works. It's not how this works at all. So yeah, check that out. it's all been updated on Master Unit List. I don't think anything that has a physical card changed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think
the physical cards, I don't use them, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, but they supply them, and so they include them with every single box of like the Lance packs and the salvage boxes. So it's important that their cards aren't out of date, so that people can use them.
What? This isn't Warhammer 40K? All right, everyone take a drink every time I say 40K.
I will make a quick devil's advocate argument and say that if you're using the cards, use the cards. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about the Master Unit List. And if you're using the Master Unit List, don't worry about the cards. I mean, really, there's no reason to, cross-pollinate. I mean, who brings cards and Master Unit List printouts? So,
well, for I think Nova and Southern Assault, wasn't it in the rule packs that you had to have the printout from Master Unit List?
Yeah,
they wouldn't have allowed the cards anyway, right?
For Southern Assault, yes. I don't know about Nova.
I can't remember. I want to say Nova was also Master Unit List.
Yeah,
but for friendly games, for friendly games, I don't think this changes anything.
Because there's going to be cards in that Alpha Strike box, so,
I guess tiny news, we saw the Alpha Strike box.
We also saw Dominion Divided, but let's cover the Alpha Strike box first.
New units look neat. The buildings are cool. I think it's a great product idea for getting people in,
Is it worth $80?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many units are in there? There's a star and then a
3/4 of a...
Yeah, 8 units. 8. So what is that, 13? 13 for 80? 13. Let's do the math. I'm bringing up the calculator while I bleed time off. 80 divided by 13 is 6. Okay, so it's like the same as most other box sets.
Yeah, most boxes are
and you get terrain and stuff in there.
Are we calling cardboard pop-up people terrain? That's terrain
for
me too. Me too.
It's good. It's
for
good
those
box.
who have nothing. This it's not bad quality.
Oh no, this would be the ideal starter set because you have 2 distinct factions, and everyone could all right, well, I want this, I want that, and split it up.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. It's like now they have 2 solid boxes for both of their flagship games because Alpha Strike is a different game, and I think that's great.
I need them to put the box set mechs in the salvage boxes though, because the only way to get more ShadowHawks is to buy more box sets, and I don't want to do that.
You don't just have a guy that you meet in a back alley with ShadowHawks?
Not that I'm willing to admit to.
They have the same sculpt from Ironwind Metals, and it's got all 5 tubes of the LRM5. So just get the metal one.
Oh, sure. Because when I want, a lance of them, instead of paying $20, I should pay $120. No problem.
Hey, at least you can chew on the pewter ones, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you could just go onto eBay and buy a lot, like a space lot of ShadowHawks. How many ShadowHawks do you want? I don't know, 30? And he's like, how's 42 sound? And you just get them for $20.
It's the principle of the matter.
At that point, you're not even looking for the modern sculpt. You're just I want ShadowHawks. Quality, paint job, don't care. Excuse me, I think what you heard was, I want some ShadowHawks. What I actually said was, I want all of your ShadowHawks. Alrighty, so that's enough of Kickstarter date, that's enough for Rec Guide, and that's enough for Master Unit List changes. I think there's another big news that's more closely for... let's do Dominion Divided. So you looked through it, you skimmed, how is Dominion Divided, the book?
What I did was not qualified as skimmed. I looked at 3 pages, and I was too in tournament mode to even pay attention to it. But I guess you skimmed a little bit. You found something in the back.
I mean, yeah, I found something in the back, but that's just for me personally. But the random acquisition tables in there were very choice. I highly recommend it.
I'm actually mad I didn't look at those or take a picture.
The map included with it. Also,
was the thing in the back a map, Josh?
Yes.
The thing in the back was a map. Technically, he'd taken it out, so it wasn't in the back. But yeah.
People were poring over the map.
No, that's exciting. I like maps.
Denham and I are opposites. I take the maps and I throw them in the trash. You can have all my maps, Denham.
Okay, bring them. I mean, right now on the wall here, I've got at least one map, maybe two, and then I've got some more in the garage.
Maps of your house don't count, and maps of the Mechbay, a fictional place that lives only in our heads and on Discord, also doesn't count.
All right, I got way too many video game world maps on my walls in my house. That is true.
Look at this man with time to play video games. All right, now
I sleep.
All right, so we'll get. So we have some news closer to home. The Mechbay podcast mascot logo mech, the Greyhound, is now out for sale. It arrived at Southern Assault with almost no forewarning.
That's right. The dropship came in hot dropped a bunch of Greyhounds and got out of there.
Yeah, I was not honestly expecting it. That's how quick it was. But yeah,
DRD sculpt looks great.
Yeah, what is it? 6
Death
pieces?
Designs.
How many pieces? I got it.
Yeah, 2 legs, hips, torso, 2 arms, and the head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So how do people like me who weren't at Southern Assault get a hold of them?
Well, it is currently a Fortress Miniatures and Games online exclusive. So if you go on there and just if you just search Greyhound, it'll be there.
Is that Greyhound with an E or an A?
It is a Greyhound with an E.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks awesome. I think, Dustin, you were literally the first person to assemble one.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's actually your photo of one assembled on their paint desk on the website because it was that fast.
That is my paint desk on the website.
How does it feel? How does it feel to be famous? Like, everyone can see my paint desk. Please don't look.
I know. Hopefully there'll be an updated version once I finish painting it, which I got an hour and a half or so into it so far. So
how do we get the record sheets for that? Because I'm sure there's people out there who are going to get it who don't have record sheets. Is that on the Mega Mech?
I wish it was on Mega Mech. Please, Mega Mech people, can you add my custom unit? I know you used to, because there is a Google Doc, and I will just put the link for the Google Doc with Alpha Strike cards and classic sheets onto the show notes of this episode. You can email me. I'll send it to you. Feel free to do whatever. Make your own record sheet. Have fun with it. I'm just happy that it's a nice looking sculpt, actually. Like, I will say I put in a lot of, no, this is not right. This is not right. I was like the Karen of critiquing the day before the tournament because they missed me. Like, hey, does this look good?
This is something you should be that concerned about.
I would hope so.
You got one shot for this. Like, one shot. Once it's printed, it's out there.
That's true. So it had to be perfect.
It does.
This is not true. You can update the sculpt and release more.
No, but then there's still ones that are out there. Like, they're out in the world. You want the ones that are out in the world that people are going to see to be the best one.
That's true. But yeah, it looks awesome. We've all got one here, and I think we're going to see who paints theirs up the best. I have a feeling who's going to do the best, but that might be dependent on how they placed in Southern Assault.
So yeah, speaking of painting and the hobby progress, I've been working on the Greyhounds. I think everybody does a little bit of panic painting right before the tournament.
What? No.
So I did some of that. Assembled the Greyhound. Yep. And then future episodes, hobby progress will be She Shed because I got to finish that up, and I neglected the She Shed for like the whole month before the tournament because it was time to get everything painted up and done. But that was pretty much it.
All right. So when you say She Shed, is that like me saying Warhammer? Like it's just our like buzzword?
No, I've been mudding and taping the drywall. We're getting there. Hope the idea is the She Shed will be done for Christmas. It's a Christmas present. It'll be done. And then you guys will never have to hear about it again.
Lies. I'll hear about it every week.
You guys get anything done? Josh, I know you were...
I panic painted. I didn't start until Sunday night because I'm terrible. Yeah. Tournaments on Saturday. I'm getting there on Friday. And I was like, yeah, 4 days is enough to paint and do everything. No, it's not. Please don't. Blake knew I would be too powerful if I had better time management skills, so I don't have them.
Denham?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was trying to make use with what little time I had to get some hobby progress done by printing out trees for my 3D maps, but I accidentally broke my 3D printer. So
no,
yeah, it's okay. I ordered the part. It should be here Monday or Sunday. I don't know.
Good. That's good.
But yeah, so even my printing got waylaid.
Are you crawling your way out of IT employee hell? Or
it's slow, but yeah, it's
okay.
Things are actually. I mean, we can't add new people yet, but we're getting there.
Okay, that's good. So we'll see you occasionally in the weeks coming. Yeah. That's good. I feel for your brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Is this how Comstar felt like after Gray Monday?
Oh man, I just read a book about that poor guy who was trying to fix it. I forget his name because I'm horrible with names, but I understand his pain. He's just locked in some room and he wakes up and they're like, fix the hyperpulse generators, and then he goes back to sleep. 20 hours later.
Mm-hmm. So is he like more the junior dev or like the senior dev?
No,
did he push to production and then like no one caught it?
The problem was that he fixed one, and then they're like, "Oh, you fixed one, you can fix them all." And they just locked him in a room. Oh
no, it was like a big fight. Like there were multiple factions fighting over this one guy who found the turn it off, turn it back on switch.
Yeah,
are we talking about Tucker Harwell?
That's the one I'm talking about.
Tucker.
I'm horrible with names, but yes, it's Tucker.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, wait, I actually know this guy. Okay.
Yeah, I am finally officially out of the Dark Age books for novels and stuff. I'm making my way up to Hour of the Wolf.
Hour of the Wolf. Excellent.
Yeah.
How's it feel?
Oh, it feels good because some of those Dark Age books were not good.
I thought about picking some up this week and I was like, no, not yet. I'm not ready.
I'm reading some of Jason Schmetzer's. I guess that's how you pronounce his name.
That's what I say, Schmetzer.
His writing is great. I like Schmetzer.
I feel like there's a butt coming.
No. There is no butt coming. I like his writing. It just feels so good after getting out of the Dark Age novels to read some good novels with good writing, with good pacing, with words that I understand because they're used correctly.
This is the Gordon Ramsay, finally some good food meme.
Yeah, I guess so.
He's
the one that did Embers of War, and he has that as an audiobook. Is it Embers of War? Is that the one with the stealthy tigers?
Bro, I don't
know. Oh, well, whatever. I enjoy his writing.
It's good. He's a common favorite in book club, Schmetzer. Cool. Yeah.
All right, so we'll probably talk a little bit more about our hobby progress as we go through the Southern Assault recap, but we do have some mail that I've been putting off just because I needed all three of us on and like in the mindset to answer them. So Omar writes, great show. You have kept me entertained through several long days of driving with an excellent show. Love the format, news, hobby progress, and the content is top notch. Thank you, Omar.
Thank you, Omar. You flatter us.
You do. Now for some questions. Would you recommend a mirror match for an intro/demo game? I found myself with a lot of duplicate mechs, and while I will try to keep the BV at 5,000 or less, would you recommend just a straight mirror or two lances with some of the more iconic mechs from 3025? I was thinking about a few that I have multiples of, like a Warhammer, Marauder, or Rifleman.
Okay, so like you've got the beginner box, which is not a mirror match, but the very first the very first mission scenario in the back of the standard box set is a mirror matchup. So a lot of people assume that that's the way to go. I prefer it not to be a mirror matchup, and I also prefer more mediums in the mix than heavies. For a beginner game, throwing heavies out to begin with, it just takes too long to get through the armor. It can make a demo game or an intro game go on so long that people start to lose interest.
It's no longer an intro game at that point.
Yeah, that's not what you want. I would say some slow lights and some medium mechs are a good way to go. Mirror match it if people are concerned about it being absolutely fair on both sides. But for your first few games, you shouldn't worry about winning or losing. You should just be learning about getting through as many rules as possible. So I would say just get an eclectic mix of whatever looks cool and go with that.
Yeah, I'm mostly there with Denham for sure, and mostly to just expand upon that. I prefer not to do a mirror match for my intro games because I want to introduce a diverse number of mechs, and I always do two on two for intro matches. I think a lance on lance is a bit much for intro players.
Lance on lance is too much, and 1v1 is just, you can have a horrible roll and then it's over in 1 or 2 turns. So 2v2 is the way to go.
And also, as obviously the more experienced player, I do my best to throw the game and make sure the intro person wins.
And that's easier to do with 2 mechs than 4.
But I also don't want to lie about the game. So,
it does take a while.
It does take a while. But yeah, those are, if you're asking, that's my opinion, Josh.
Yeah, I'm not a mirror match person, just because the mechs have different personalities, and normally I bring 4 out and I let them pick either a heavy or a medium. I tend to go back to the medium side. I just have more mediums for them to pick, which is better. And then let them pick a light. And I'm like, cool, these are yours. And I kind of describe them. And it's like, how do you feel about these? You want to look at something else? So I try to let them pick just based on their aesthetic. That kind of gives a personal attachment to those mechs, which might drive even if they lose or have a bad time. They're like, well, I really liked how this one played, or I really liked how Yurd played. So I almost say that's more key, is that initial talk through of, all right, this one's a commando, it's missiles, and that's a locust, he's fast but only lasers,
and the commando will explode. It's its job
every time. I like things also with not as many guns, like a Centurion or a Griffin. ShadowHawk's okay. It just all right, here's 5. Yeah, Denham's shaking his head. The ShadowHawk lover is don't take a ShadowHawk.
Not for an intro beginner game. It won't die and it doesn't do any damage. So,
yeah. And also, my other big thing is play it 3-4.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea.
Just because you'll get more shots and they'll do damage and they'll be happier with it, and then you can be like, all right, regular game, we're playing with grunts. So all right, this is directed at individuals. Next question, with regards to faction choices, Josh, with your choice in Comstar, do you stick with them after the split, or did you go with Word of Lake? If not, why? I actually did stick with Comstar up until the Dark Age. I kind of skipped the Jihad actually in my brain. I do intro, almost post Star League Comstar, nothing but a couple ROM agents all the way up to Clan Invasion, and then I kind of don't really care about them after, and then I go straight to Dark Age, and I'm like, okay, this is their last big hurrah. What is it? Not the First Order, that's Star Wars. Oh, come on, Blessed Order, the Blessed Order. God, they really are the bad guys. So I go straight to them. I like them, but Blessed Order is almost more of a mix of Word of Blake and Comstar, so I kind of take it when they're all not super bad guys. I guess, I don't know, that's kind of weird.
They're super bad guys.
Yeah, I know they're still bad guys, but I kind of like that they just come out of nowhere and they have this weird, cool advanced tech.
Yeah.
So, Dustin, next question. With your choice of Clan Wolf, do you favor the Crusader Wolves or the Warden Wolves? What about Wolves in Exile?
So let's see, Warden Wolves or Blood of Kerensky, right, Denham?
I was thinking that Warden Wolves were the Wolves in Exile. Is that not what happened?
No, Phelan Kale splits off, right? For Wolves in Exile.
Right, but he's the faction that is the anti-Crusader faction.
Oh, it's weird because Wolves were secretly Warden, but faked being Crusader, right?
until too many of them are no, we are Crusaders because Jade Falcons are taking all this stuff.
I mean, to truly answer the question, Omar, and to let you down a little bit, I picked Clan Wolf because Beta Galaxy was easy to paint.
Because they're the Space Marine, the Ultramarines of the...
I mean, it's, you prime it gray and then you paint tan on top and you put a wash on it. And that was it. I was super into that back then. And that's why I went with Clan Wolf. And then Clan Wolf Dark Age mechs were just because I was already running Clan Wolf. So I can't really answer your question. And I haven't played Clan Wolf in like a year. So.
Wow, you really haven't.
You have failed.
I have failed. Yeah. I like the wolves from the Blood of Karinsky era because I read about them. That's really the bulk of the lore from the wolves that I've read. So, those wolves. Invasion era.
Yeah. Yeah, the Crusader wolves that are secretly wardens because they're the good guys in the books. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to read the next question, Josh?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Next question. With regards to the custom terrain I keep hearing about in the hobby progress portion, specifically the new, as of episode 23, desert map with an airstrip, once I am settled from my move, I plan to invest in a few 3D printers, resin and plastic. So I'm trying to get an idea of what files are available out there. That is part of what I am waiting for before trying Alpha Strike, getting the appropriate terrain. Are photos of these projects located somewhere? I check Facebook and try digging through the Discord. Just trying to get an idea of what others are working on and where I can get those files. I have checked with both Steel Warriors Studios and Death Ray per your show's recommendations. So everything that I have and I have taken photos of is from Thunderhead Studios through Steel Warrior Studios. And the guy who makes those files uses an Ender 3. So if you buy an Ender 3 FDM printer, all of the Thunderhead Studios terrain that you get through Steel Warrior Studios will print very nicely on your Ender 3 if you get that. That is my recommendation. I like Thunderhead stuff. I have not printed any of Death Ray's stuff, but I have played with it at Southern Assault 1 and 2, and it all looks great.
Now, specifically dealing with the map that he's talking about, Thunderhead Studios has a lot of hills for the new map packs that are out. A lot of, especially the grasslands. I think he's got it for all of the grasslands.
Yes, he does. I printed the whole set.
He does not have all of them for the desert stuff yet. So the one with the airstrip, there aren't any official 3D files that cover that exactly like they do with all the green ones. That may come out sooner or later, but as of right now, my particular one is stuff modeled after that. Like I just took hex hills and I'm configuring them into ones that are roughly like that, and I'm taking buildings that fit on the spaces but not necessarily are the exact buildings that are shown on the map like I do on the grassland maps. So to answer that question, there are no official 3D terrain sets for the airstrip map, but the other side, the one with all the grasslands of that map, I believe he's talking about the mega mat.
Yeah,
I think so.
There are from Thunderhead Studios through Steel Warrior, 100% all of the terrain on the other side you can get from there. So the hill packs, the buildings, and the trees.
And just to disambiguate, just in case, when Denham says official, he means officially through Thunderhead. Thunderhead is not affiliated with Catalyst Game Lags or anything like that.
Correct. I meant the hills are exactly the hills that you see. The buildings are the exact buildings you see, not official as in Catalyst Game Labs. That is correct. Thank you.
No problem. Just in case.
Alrighty. And Omar says, keep up the great work with the show.
I don't know that our work is great, but thank you.
I think it's great.
It's something. Alrighty. Do we want to take a quick break and retune the HBG signal before we talk about Alpha Strike? 375 points.
Yeah,
Too much.
I gotta find Tucker because something's wrong on my end. Let me go find him. We'll get it tweaked up, and then we'll be back.
I need to go make sure that the butter has not been misplaced.
All right. It's another year, which means it's another tournament. And this year, it's Southern Assault 2022. This time with 53 players. The biggest Battletech tournament in the continental United States in at least 8 years. At least. There might have been something bigger, but that we know of. But Southern Assault is hosted by Rob at Fortress Miniatures and Games. It is 375 points of unadulterated Alpha Strike awesomeness here in good old North Carolina.
Wait a minute. So you guys were at a tournament last weekend? That's why you didn't go to my party?
You had a party? Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, I feel stood up now.
Oh.
I want to talk to your manager. Where is she?
Not in the house right now, actually.
I watched a little bit of the streams from last year and this year, and it was a huge difference. The gymnasium was packed. Lots of players. It was great.
Felt like more than 53, I'll say that.
No.
Oh man.
So were there like booths and stuff set up in there, or is it just tables for
just tables for game? It is pure gameage. Raw. There is nobody selling anything at the tournament. Okay, that's a lie. There's a little bit of stuff, like if you would like to buy like dice or a t-shirt or something, there's that. But there's no like store vendors there.
Right. No. Food trucks.
Nope.
Ooh.
Well, next year maybe.
Yeah. I just like, Well, tell me about it. I wasn't there. I wasn't there last year. I wasn't there this year, even though I was signed up for it. So let me know what I missed.
All right. So it is Southern Assault. If you didn't listen to, episode 20 something, 22, I'm going to go with. It is a 375 point on the table, no side list, no side tables. It's you bring everything and everything plays every game. It is 2 days. It is 6 games, and it is missions drop time of game. So you don't have any time to know what you have to do.
Wait a minute. So it's a blind mission.
It's blind missions.
It's 375 points.
Yep.
And how long were the games?
2 hours.
Because I remember at a 250, like it was tough to get games in under 2 hours. How did you guys get games in under 2 hours when you didn't know the mission and it was 375 points?
Read the mission. Do the mission. No brain, only go.
Okay, so you guys finished all your games under time?
No.
I finished.
That was my question, and Josh just made it at some point like, oh no, that happened. No,
I finished half my games under time. I'll say that.
I think I only finished one game under time. I will say it's okay if you, because of the way that missions are scored, it's okay if you don't finish in time or if you don't run out of turns, so to speak. There's a time limit, 2 hours. There's a turn limit for most games.
And if you table your opponent, the game stops. There's no racking up points.
Yep. I would say 80% of the players or 80% of the games for all the players will go to 2 hours. And every now and then I'd say 20% of the overall games, maybe 20 to 15% finish up ahead of time.
It just, it seems inefficient to me. Like it should either be less points, which I know they aren't going to do, or slightly more time.
So I have a thought on this, and I noticed it throughout my games. At 375 points, most lists didn't add more than what they would have taken to a 250 or lower list. They just took bigger units with better skills. So I had less units at 375 than I did at last year's 350, and I only had 2 units less than I did to my Nova list. So I actually took the least amount of units that I've ever taken to a tournament at 375.
I don't know. I think the super heavy should count as 2 or 3 units.
There are more expensive units than it.
Yes.
Much. Yeah. So
use 69.
It only counts as 1.
It only counts as 1. I think there are a lot of players, though, and I noticed this at the tournament, that maxed the number and were taking like average points, and they were the ones going to time.
Yeah, because it's just so many units that you have to deal with.
Yeah, like me taking, what was it, like 5 50-point units is 250, but they're taking 10 25-point units that takes twice as much thing. So I think there is like a meta game actually, just of how much do you take, and I want to say maxing the units for that isn't actually worth it because you'll hit time more often. But this is the pre-game show, but
yeah. I think this is one of those things that hopefully, as this format becomes more and more popular, that there's going to be a lot of refinement, and I think the only way really we're going to be able to do that is to just do more tournaments, see what works, see what doesn't.
Yeah. What do you think?
I was just curious about Southern Assault specifically, knowing that it had more points than Nova and the same amount of time for the missions, and I just didn't see how that was possible, and apparently it's not as possible as I.
It is possible. Okay, I'll say that it is possible. It had roughly the same unit restrictions. I think max was 16 units.
Yes, max was 16. Max 5 battle or infantry. It was not specific. It's max 5 infantry. I want to say you could have a lot of vehicles. Maybe it was 8
or something.
Something like that. Yeah. But you could easily at 375 points get up to 16. And I my first list had 15 units. And then my second list had 14 units for the tournament. My prior year had 10. I had, a mixed Nova thing going on. And I mean, you can take a swarm unit, or you can take an elite, or you can take something in between. And I think the advantages and disadvantages of those kind of translate into Alpha Strike if you're like more familiar with general wargaming. And I played against and as all those different units. I would say I was middling between elite and swarm last year, and I was definitely leaning more swarm this year. And there's, metagame wise, there's definitely some unit movement efficiency, especially with the rules. For how you move your units, you can really initiative sync. So there's something to that. But all of my units were cheaper, so and they were easier to take off the table.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's get into some of the stuff then. What'd you take, Josh? If you didn't.
Okay, so I took Sea Foxes again, which is what I took last year, and mainly that was just because they were one of the few factions that A, I have, and B, were taking the units that I wanted to take already. Like, this was I'm taking X, Y, and Z, which factions have that. Oh, my same faction I took last year. Okay, we're good. So I took a Ares super heavy tripod for 69 points.
69 points, really?
Yeah.
So that third leg is a leg, isn't it? Is this the John C. Holmes mech that you've got walking around there?
I'm too young to get that reference.
Oh,
sir.
My God.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. Sorry.
Everyone over 40 is kicking themselves with laughter right now.
All right. But yes, I took a super heavy tripod. Why? Because I got it last year at Southern Assault, and I'm like, I'm taking this next year because this format doesn't care. And the points are high enough that it doesn't care.
Yeah, a lot of points.
A lot of points. So I was like, this is one of the few times I get to use it. I'm going to take it. I took a Triskelion tripod because if you're taking one big 3-legged, you might as well take 2 3-leggeds.
Do we make the same joke, Denham? Does that joke apply to this guy too?
No, because it's not as big. It's
okay.
No, it doesn't. It just doesn't work.
This is the "don't talk to me or my son" joke ever again.
Yeah.
I took the Vulture Mark IV D, which is what a returning favorite from last year. Mm-hmm. I took the new Hammerhead model. I took a Firestorm, one of the new Rec Guide mechs. It's just a Shadowcat without the Omni ability. Like, don't at me. It's just a Shadowcat, people. I took a Stalking Spider 2, which is a quad. It's a kind of like a regular. It's not like a spider. If I say that, it's not.
No,
it's like
because it's not the spider. It's like the tarantula legs.
It does look much more like a tarantula than a regular stalking spider. So don't at me on that one. I took a Cougar F, and I took a Piranha 5 at skill 5. That was also a recurring mech, different chassis from last year. And I took 2 Sylph VTOL battle armors. I took 1 at skill 3 because I had the points.
Now, the Sylph, they are VTOL. Were you able to strafe? Were you allowed? Is that a thing that...
I wasn't going to bring it up. I wasn't going to do anything weird with them.
That seems like super powerful. I would have definitely attempted to do that. A 10-inch strafe and everything under it takes a point of damage or a potential point of damage.
Dustin, you took VTOLs. Did you strafe?
No, I think it's specific to the aerospace movement.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It's not? In the rules, it said that they are VTOLs and all VTOLs get the strafe. It's have a whole special section about VTOLs and strafing.
Someone who's better at rules, let me know if my VTOL battle armor can perform strafing maneuvers. Anyways, I didn't do any because there were the restrictions of no like special ammunition attacks. So they have the bomb ability. I wasn't allowed to use bomb. That's fine. I don't care. I'm not taking them because of that. I'm taking them because they are cool. This is purely a flexing list, stylistically, aesthetically. There you go. I put the Sylphs on little VTOL stands, so they're doing cool little VTOL things.
They were flying.
They were flying. I will say, they never rode in on a mech. They were always VTOLing or running on their own.
Well, why? I mean, there's no real point to doing that.
I mean, there's points like doing things, protecting for extra armor. Like, I don't know. If a mech moves faster than what they move, I don't know. There's reasons. There's things. But yeah, they were always on their own, which I think was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like I said.
How about you, Dustin? What did you bring?
So I brought, for the mechs, I brought 5 mechs. I brought the King Crab 001, which was not my first choice, but I don't want to bog down the podcast with my...
No, you got your first list got rejected.
It did. So the King Crab...
Hold on. Who rejected it? Call them out by name, sir.
I don't know. Whoever was checking the list.
It was Dave Goldbishop.
Oh, yeah. It's Dave. Come on.
Thank you, Dave, for rejecting Dustin's list. He only ranted and raved for many moons.
I was so sad. The King Crab 11 is such a different beast.
Why was it rejected?
It was not available to Free Worlds League, period, in any era.
So I feel like we need to stop there. There were faction limits on these lists.
That was going to be my next question.
And that was different from last year. Last year was...
whatever you want.
Whatever you wanted. So this year there were faction limits. So I couldn't take the 11. I just switched it out with the 001, which was the same number of points. So that was a pretty quick swap. And I was disappointed, but we'll move on. So that's a classic Juggernaut. I had the Warhammer 2C3 as my brawler. I had the Seraph token heat damage, just skirmisher in general. I brought my Urban Mech Arrow 4. So this was the only units in my list that was a different skill level. I took skill 2 because I liked my token artillery last year for breaking up Death Stars, but I actually wanted to hit this year. So I dropped it to 2 and I was very happy about that. I took the Mercury 105 as just a fast skirmisher. Very fast, 24 inches, fastest unit in my list. I will go next to my Zahn Heavy Transport, which could carry 2 or Car 8, so 2 points or 2 groups of 4 battle armor. And my Zahn had the tag. So the Zahn's a little tanky. It's actually quite tanky. So it was a party bus, and it was tag, and it was tanky, and it was 210, so it was token damage. And the rest of my units were doubled up. I took the infantry because that was my whole idea this year. I guess if we want to get into that later, we can get into that. But I took 2 squads of Phalanx D battle armor, and I took 2. Okay, so I took 2. I had to wrangle my list at the end because the King Crab got, maybe it wasn't the exact same. I think it was 1 point cheaper than the one I had to switch it out with. But I had to maneuver my list a little bit. So I took the Tortoise 2 battle armor, that's 550, and I took the Tortoise, a separate set that was the 440. I'm talking about damage brackets for those that don't know. And so the Zahn could carry 2 of those. So for the other 2, I ended up settling on the main Gauche infantry fighting vehicles. So that's the infantry fighting variant of the main Gauche light support tank. And I love these things. And that's my list. 14 units.
I like it. It's a lot, but I like it. I fought roughly close to that same list.
Pretty
when
close,
we practiced, yeah.
Yes. And that was my list.
Denham, what do you think in your infinite wisdom?
I like your token Urban Mech artillery. I think that's cute.
Yeah, I even modeled up a little Arrow 3 thing for his arms, so he could...
Arrow 3? Why does everyone get it wrong? Oh my god!
4, sorry, because somebody was talking about how it had 3 missiles. So somebody was like, oh, it's got Davy Crockett's. We're bringing War Crime Irby trash can or something. But so yes, the Arrow 4 or Arrow IV.
Oh no!
Did him.
Look, we only gave because we saw John from MRC, Lord Carvin there. We only gave him crap probably 12 times.
I would like to play your list with my list, Dustin.
I got it. It's all painted up and ready to go.
Not tomorrow, but soon.
Soon, yeah. I was partial to my list. I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that it was, the lists were faction locked. The Poseidon, like your Ares, it came out in the Republic era, yet it is a Smoke Jaguar faction super heavy according to
that makes sense
list.
Because the Republic / Smoke Jaguars, they were the Fidelis, so Smoke Jaguars would get a lot of Republic tech. So I think if you want to do clans but also play Republic, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah,
it's kind of why I like doing CFox, because they got a lot of the stuff as well.
I ordered one specially for that, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, so those are the lists we're taking. I took just a 2 stars. And Dustin took a combined arms force.
It's a mixed company with support element.
Yeah.
It's very not fluffy. 14 units. It's 5 mechs. It was not fluffy. The opposite of last year.
All right. So what did we do for prep? Because everyone loved our prep section for tournament. What did you bring, D?
So I brought my acetaminophen, which came in clutch. I think after game 2, I was starting to get a headache. Not enough lists. I printed 6, and people wanted to keep them, which is very understandable. And I had to erase one, and I couldn't make copies. So I will bring more than 6 copies. I will bring 12 copies next year. So everybody can have a copy, including myself. I brought my mic for interviews. And then I brought my social battery charger, which was a very different than last year.
A bottle of Jaeger?
No. So I took my own car, and this ended up being, it totally changed my energy level for the socializing, because I was able to be by myself in my car. And it turned out to be super, super good for me, because it's lots of talking. And when you're in the car with your friends and you're talking about the tournament, you're just gonna be talking nonstop. And that really, I didn't realize how much it wore me out last year.
Me and you are the literally opposite people at this.
No, I'm with Dustin on this one. There has to be some amount of just, I'm all by myself.
I need some alone time, guys.
I do.
So that was the big change from last year. But what about you, Josh? What did you bring?
I took the same stuff I took last year.
Josh is this ain't my first rodeo. I got the list.
This is not my first rodeo. Melatonin to sleep, because pre-tournament anxiety, terrible. Mainly just prevents me from sleeping because I'm so excited. So I just need something to knock me out the day before and the day during. So that's really the big one. I brought models. I brought backup models and dice. And my big thing I brought this year was I brought a dice tray. And what it is,
Josh, you love dice trays.
I don't.
I mean, you don't.
I hate dice trays with a passion. It's hilarious. I don't know why. I do know why. The reason why is because none of them are up to my standards. So I bought I bought things to make one to my standards, and it was beautiful.
Nice. So how did you keep it from getting cocked on the side of the wall? Because that's what always happens to me with the dice tray.
If you get the walls that aren't too high but aren't too low, it's perfect. They either stay in or they go out. There's no cocking. I think I encountered 1 cocked dice out of the whole thing. And that was more just because it hit 2 dice and was like, I can't land flat. I bought a 11 by 14 painting, but just the frame kind of one that you could paint on the front of. So it's one of those live, laugh, love style things, blank, so you can write your own. And I was like, nah, man, this is a dice rolling board. Took it. And I put a green grass diorama, stick on paper onto the back of it. So it's got the raised, what's the word? You could put a nail and hang it up kind of thing. It's got that recess, the recess. Okay. And then it's got the green grass, and I just glued that on. And I'm like, wow, I was going to make this into a display board. I bought all the things to make it into a display board, but I really left it more as a dice tray. Because one thing I noticed last year was there just wasn't a lot of room at the tables with mission packets, your dead pile, your alive pile, your dice pile, your mission packets. I'm like, I need a dedicated space for rolling, and this fits on the edge of a table. And it's wide enough or long enough that I can orient it a little off whichever way I need.
So to rewind a little bit, I also brought game caddy, which has, similar to what you're talking about. I built it for last year. It has room. There's a little slot underneath for my rule book and my papers and crap to keep it all organized. And there's room for all the dice and tokens and mechs and stuff on top. But yeah, having a caddy is very nice for taking stuff around. So, but back to you.
Water? Come on.
Yeah, did you hydrate or dihydrate?
My wife got me a water bottle this year, so I had a reusable. Yeah, you
have an Nalgene.
I got a Nalgene bottle, boys. We're just
true hydro homie.
True hydro homie. I will say I was seeing how much water I drank per game, and it's like 600 mils, and I was like, oh man! By end of day one, because I drank all right, let's drink half a liter pre-game. It's like I've drank 3 liters of water. And I'm not wet yet. I need more. So I didn't have the 24 pack in the car bringing it out, but there was also 53 people there, which meant not as much running out to the car was easy.
Right.
I'm trying to think. But yeah, those are the big things they brought roughly the same. So yeah. Dustin,
what'd you forget?
I forgot nothing. Pretty much what we took. Like I said,
went to the same hotel. Hotel's nice.
So yeah, so we get there Friday. We start hanging out with the MRC guys where you were on with last episode. Nice. That was hilarious. I ran into John. Yeah, we saw Matt LeBaron, who me and you played at Nova. So it was in the first 10 minutes we're there, we're already oh, I know you.
Hey.
It's a small world after all, guys. So that was awesome. Day one, like I said, day one, we got there Friday because it was open house. So we all go to the event space.
Cracker Barrel.
I wish. Yeah, we all start hanging out. We see Dan from Listening to Paint Dry. Loved that guy. Saw him at Nova, but this time he got to play.
Nice.
Yeah, Nova, he was just doing the painting competition.
He was so busy the whole time because I was at Nova with him and he was, just busy all the time.
Yeah, I felt bad because he was I haven't played Alpha Strike in a year. I've been that busy. And I was like, all right, we're getting a quick up to speed. But yeah, we had Soul Roth versus Lord Carbon doing their charity game, their Hunchback versus Crab game.
Yep, Crabback 2022.
Crabback. All right, who did you have your money on?
Me?
Yeah,
I didn't know about this.
All right, was it 250 points of crabs versus 250 points of Hunchbacks?
I'm gonna put my money on the Hunchback.
Dustin?
Oh, I didn't know this game existed. I showed up halfway through the game.
You're like, what's going on? I
would have gone Team Crab. Look, me knowing me pretty well, and Team Crab all day. But Denham wins the bet because the Hunchbacks made it out.
Yeah, as long as they can close the distance, they're just gonna do the damage. But they gotta close the distance.
It's too raunchy. I can't say
I need it. I need it now.
It's the girl with the guys and it was that was
oh
the end
God,
of the game.
You're
that
terrible.
Was the end of the game.
Yeah. So end of game, there is 3 hunchbacks surrounding a single crab.
Ouch.
Rules as written, the crab cannot move out. So it's just them all unloading short range AC-20s onto the crab. Blank.
Killed the cab. There was a headshot early game, killed the king crab. That's what I heard. That's how the legend goes. And that threw the game. So Team Crab would have won if it weren't for the bad dice.
Yeah. But Lord Carbon, this was a charity game sponsored by me, kind of. So I will be donating to Extra Life, the charity of the Hunchback's Choice. So congratulations, Hunchbacks. Somebody out there will, your victory will not go unrewarded. But so at that, So we hang out. We all see what everyone's bringing today. Everyone's just walking around seeing the Aries because I brought it out to show. Everyone's like, "What's that?"
You got it, right?
Yeah, I got to. I magnetized it too. So every time somebody "Oh, it's so big," and I just flick the gun and it's 360. And I was like, "Oh yeah, be impressed, people."
Yeah. No, I'm excited about my Poseidon.
And then we had pizza apocalypse, where everybody ordered enormous pizzas and there was 6 pizzas for 8 dudes, and they were
how did this happen? How did this?
I
know it was
those
our
Tennessee
fault.
boys. No, the Tennessee boys. Blame them. Blame Tennessee.
I was born in Tennessee. I understand.
All right. So
after pizza night, we leave the air conditioner alone this year, and we go straight to bed.
Yeah, we know how this works. So we roll up day one, game one. Rob rolls out like the special rules that might have been missed. So you do the big thing that Southern Assault does differently is they do multiple attack rolls, which is if your mech does 3 damage, you roll 3 different pairs of dice, and you could get 1, 2, 3, or 0 hits and apply 1, 2, or 3 or 0 damage. All 3 of those could be 12s, but it doesn't matter. You only get 1 pair, and every time you roll, you have to designate that's your critical dice pair. That's like the special house rule that Fortress likes to run, and I'm fine with it. It's kind of like
if it's not like, because that way the odds are you're just rolling 1 pair of dice that could be a crit or not, so the odds are the same. But if it's like your vulture, which does 9, like that's 9 pairs of dice that you could get 1 or more crits on.
Yeah,
I assume that you can only get 1 crit no matter what, but still the odds are just, it's a crit monster.
Yeah.
So I get that, and I totally understand that. How about heat? Like, how is heat done? Because I know some places it's on your first point of damage you apply this special thing, but on some places it gets its own pair of dice.
Special attacks like heat, SRM, LRM, and AC. Players allowed to mix standard and special attacks into one roll. To use a special attack with your normal attack roll, players declare which set of dice represent their special attack value. And quote, note this rule is slightly different than what is published in the Alpha Strike Commander's Edition book. So, yeah, everyone was pretty good on that. Everyone was pretty good. So that, and what is it? Because there were so many people, it was alternating shots. Like the fire for effect was up to your table. So that happened in 2 of my games where it was just easier for I go everything and then you go everything.
Did not play any games where did I go, you go. Just being able to overheat your mech if it gets killed is just too important. So I did alternating every time.
Yeah, I'll get into that where it actually applied to me.
Okay.
But all right, so game 1, let's get into it. We're an hour into this episode, so it's the long one. It's the big one of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a big event.
Yeah. Maybe there will be a classic event that will take our attention next time. But game 1, let me get the missions out. This one is just literally titled Fight, and it's kill or be killed, just a straight shoot 'em up. Everyone loves game 1.
Yep.
Relearn how to play your list, because some of these people might not have practiced, so this is the best time to do it. All of these are based on a margin of BV killed or objective scored, so you don't get however many points you score, you get the difference, and each difference bracket has its own point score.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, like I said, there are secondaries, and you can score up to 25 primary points, and you can score up to 10 secondary points. So it's a good split. It's hard to get all the secondaries.
Yeah.
And I will say it's still hard to get a full primary mission scoring.
I've never done it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think if you were, then it meant that something went wrong. Like somebody forgot to bring their army, or they had the broken dice that never rolled higher than a 3.
Yeah. I will say one big thing for the secondaries is they changed up a lot. So what you would do one mission wouldn't apply to the next mission. Sometimes there might be one that carries over, but they were the thing where if you read your mission, there might be free points.
Yes.
Or it might change how you play them primary.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that, it gives extra points to people who pay attention.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm not going to cover these for every mission, but for a lot of these, theirs was do like a special or do a specific attack, like either do a melee, do a rear, do 2 rears, stuff like that. Or if your smallest unit destroys a unit, so your smallest being your smallest point. So this was if you have that 2-point spotter, which I took last year, it's not great because you needed to destroy something to get points.
Yeah.
Right.
That might only be 1 point, but 1 point's 1 point.
1 point's 1 point. 1 point, there was a tie at the top of the list. So many people got 117 points. I think it was like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, 4 of us.
Yep.
So
it's a difference.
So that 1 point is a lot.
Yep.
All right. So like I said, primary was points based on margin of who had killed more and lost less. So, all right, for game 1, I'm playing Chris, and Chris is bringing an SLDF Exodus Force. He's got 2 artillery vehicles at skill 2. He's got some scout VTOLs at skill 5, so they're not doing a lot of damage, but they do have damage on them. He's got hover APCs. He's got 5 foot platoons, and he's got some basic mechs. It's like he's got 2 fast boys, 2 mediums, and he's got a Nightstar as his most expensive one at 61 BV. So yeah, he's got like a combined arms list that was pretty close to your list, in my opinion, Dustin.
Yeah. So yeah, what was your general battle plan for this one?
I want to know how this Ares does.
So I messed up. I messed up the first roll I'd made. I won initiative, and I picked the side of the table without looking at his list. His army is still in the bag, and I'm like, let's roll initiative. And I gave him lots of line of sight blocking terrain, and my side did not have. And this was before the mission, like before me looking at the mission. This was before me looking at his list, and I was like, I just gave the skill 2 artillery guy
tons of cover.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. Like that one Nova map where the escort, the convoy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where just like one side had a clear corridor and the other one had this maze.
Yeah. So
whoops.
I messed up turn 0. Turn -1, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was just kill points, so I was like, well, hopefully I can, beat him in the melee, the medium range stuff, and be fine. That did not go over well. There were a couple special things like kill the enemy's highest point unit, and he was like, I'm not trying for that secondary. I was like, well, I am, because it's worth a little bit to me. Like I'm a guy who plays secondary, so I'm like, I can do it. Yeah, no, it did not go well for me. Like his artillery, his skill 2 artillery just sat still, and the VTOLs tagged.
Yep.
And
so he's rolling 6s, right?
Yeah, he's rolling 6s.
Yep. I know that game.
And I'm like, this is some bull crap.
This is some.
Yeah. No, I was like,
survive?
Oh yeah, the Ares didn't go down. Like the Ares is, by the end of it, the Ares is literally my last thing standing.
Wow.
And the Ares has only killed 2 units because he has literally never left his deployment zone with mechs or infantry.
Because he ran full speed the entire time.
Yeah, there was. I mean, he moved 2 units, but it was like, okay, you're moving the VTOLs or you're moving the Mercury, and I'm like, and you're only for rear shots. Like,
oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
it was a kind of a parking lot list.
Oh, it was the biggest parking lot I've ever seen. Like, it made the Walmart parking lot look like a valet. His artillery never moved. His Marauder and Crab were on the back line, and his infantry were on the back line. I was like, I didn't want to be like, bro, I came here to play. And he's like, I'm not coming to you. There's no reason. Like, there's no objectives.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, he's playing to his strengths. So,
yeah. And my strength
just happened to be the right lift.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like, if I had literally taken the other side of the table, there would have been nowhere for you to hide. But I gave you the wrong side. So, yeah, that one really screwed me. And it was a close match. Like, even with me only having the Ares left, I still eked out a 17-20 loss. So that's respectable. Nice. Only a 3-point difference.
Yeah.
I got half the secondaries, so that is what helps.
Yeah. Any highlights or lowlights for the
lowlights was just taking 4 damage every turn from artillery. Like everything. Like, he would just be like, oh, it scatters, but the other one hits. So I'm like, okay, there's 2 damage. There's 2 more.
Yep.
It's not like it really, I didn't have a list that bunches up, so that wasn't effective. It was just like he could just put anything wherever he wanted. Didn't need line of sight. And the VTOLs have TMM5, so it's like, this is worthless to shoot at.
Were they TMM5 or was it 5 altogether?
It was TMM4 with a +1 VTOL in it. That's in air.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why you got to take your flak guys.
Well, next year I will.
I always have a little bit of flak in my list.
Flak.
That was okay. So that was actually a decision I made. I chose not to take a flak thing and instead chose to take the Cougar and the Piranha. Was it worth it? I don't know. Looking in hindsight, maybe. But yeah, the other problem was I just did not have enough speed to get behind his line of sight. So I literally was last turn, and I'm now looking at his artillery.
Maybe I've just fought against too many VTOLs early on.
Oh yeah, no, I've only fought against one before, and Justin's in his practice game. I have low VTOL or artillery experience.
Yeah, I see how powerful they can be, but I don't want to take them. But I need something to answer that, and that's flak. So all my lists have at least one, if not two mechs with a little bit of flak.
Yeah, because flak lowers the roll you need for the flak dice by 2.
Correct.
So it's worth it. But yeah, highlight was the Ares survived. Low light, it hurt.
Yeah. Yep.
What about you, Dustin?
So I played John Davidson. He brought a kind of like a mixed skill 3 kind of in between list, like, not the elites, but not the mass units either. He had quite a bit of long range fire. It was my first game, and I black holed most of the first game for some reason. I had a great game with John. Thanks for the game, John.
I just don't remember it.
I just don't.
It's game one. You had a lot of games that day, so not everyone's got the battle ROM rolling as soon as you hit the table.
Although the battle ROM was running, I could not for the life of me remember literally anything about my game one, but it is the game that Rob recorded and streamed for the tournament. So I was able to go back and look. So if you want to, you can watch the whole game. It's there.
I'm interested in that.
Yeah, you can listen to us roll dice and everything.
That's on Fortress Miniatures and Games Facebook page?
Yeah, on the Facebook page. So my battle plan, John kind of split deployment, and I was like, I think I'm going to send my choppers after his chopper, get that knocked out first and establish air superiority. And then because he split deployment, I was like, I'm just going to abuse one of the flanks. And that plan mostly survived contact with the enemy. I would say he had some skill 3 stuff, which typically, like 8 is a magic number with skill 4, because that's, TMM2, medium range, 8 plus skill 4, but 7s are a little tougher. That I took the game. I felt a little dirty. I felt like my list was, the choppers especially, they're a little cheesy. They're red kites, by the way. Not as bad as the Balax, but they're still choppers, and he didn't have any flak. He didn't really have an answer for my choppers. Most people at the tournament did not, but we'll get to that. Anyways, but yeah, I won the game. It wasn't a blowout or anything, but I think it was like a solid win, if I remember correctly. I didn't record like any of my scores.
That's fine. Yeah. I mean, you record them to give them to the TO.
Right. Yes.
I just told him a number that sounded good.
Yeah, my highlights were rolling an engine crit on a pretty fresh Thunderbolt that I think was skill 3. I think it was like his bruiser of the list, if I remember correctly. So that was lucky dice. And then I kind of ignored the Thunderbolt for a turn or two because it had an engine hit or some, and he had shot, so it had heat. And then I went to clean up it later on and rolled another engine crit on the Thunderbolt. That was one of 2 double engine crit kills I got in the tournament.
Nice.
So yeah, that was game 1.
What are your thoughts, Denham? You're the orbital capital ship, just,
I'm just sucking up all these battle ROMs and going over. There's not much to say. It's just a fight mission. There's no objectives. So I do like that Chris was able to take advantage of the terrain to pull out a win. Like, they're fun to play, but they're the most boring to analyze.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's just who got the better rolls, with all else being equal.
Oh, I lost initiative every turn game 1. There was not a single turn that I won. Maybe I won the roll off, and I made the wrong choice, and I paid for it every turn.
So I don't have much to say about a straight up fight without being able to see everything turn by turn. Let's go on to some that had objectives. What happened with game 2? Like, what was the real objective?
The return of the football mission.
Yeah. Game 2 is Pick Up the Pod, also known as Extraction. And this was the one I don't want to say we hated last year, but we just got frustrated because
it was my least favorite.
It was my least favorite too. One of my favorite opponents, though, so there's that. I got to play Sol Roth, the Mechbay Discord's, on retainer lawyer.
The pizza lawyer.
the pizza lawyer. That was great. I got to play him and his Jade Falcons, and man, those were nice looking. I've seen them on Hobby Progress, but it's always better to see them in person.
I hear that the yellow is so bright because it's about 47 coats of yellow on there.
Oh, I bet. It
would have been easier to paint the whole thing yellow and then just paint green over top of that.
As someone who's painted yellow, if it's, what is it? I'm going to go with 15, maybe 20%. If your mech or model has to be yellow and the rest is any other color, just start yellow and paint everything else. Paint 80% the other color. Don't do 80 and then paint the 20. Paint the 20 and then do everything else. It's easier for your soul.
Yeah. Steve, I'm sure, is just going, why didn't I think of that?
But yes, this was whoever could get to the pod, the center objective on the middle, and then get it. You had to touch it. You had to not move for an entire turn. You could shoot, you could do everything, but you could not move for an entire turn.
So you have a 0 as your modifier on your movement.
Now, because you're picking something up, do you still get your bonus for not moving, for shooting?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
But can you survive? The answer is no.
Yeah.
Not unless you've basically tabled your opponent.
Yeah. Especially when the pod cuts the unit that's holding its movement in half and it cannot jump. So this ain't no pod. This is...
Yeah, so your plan of going in there with your dasher that at a half movement is still more than any other unit. It's not going to survive the stopping to pick it up.
That's the issue. You might be able to get it if you kill everyone first and then can get them off. But
interesting.
There is no turn 1. I got the objective. The earliest you could have it is end of turn 2, start of turn 3, and you've got to spend a whole turn at TMM 0.
It's rough.
It's rough.
What was your plan? What did you do?
My plan was, don't even try. I've been there before. It was rough game, or it was rough year 1. It's going to be rough year 2. So I'm going to play for secondaries. But yeah, I played Steve. I played his J Falcons. He had his Turkina, and I mirror matched it with my Ares because I was like, both of these mechs don't care about TMM. I roll up. I just put all my guys on the center line. He takes out my Piranha turn 1, which I kind of needed to do backstabbing. And I was like, I need that Piranha.
Did he just get hot rolls or something?
He put a dasher. He won the initiative, I think. So he put the dasher behind it. And I was like, yeah, I love that. 5 damage dasher.
It's an H.
Yep. Screw you, Steve. Screw you. And it had elementals with heat. So it's
hey, I got one of those exactly. A Dasher H with elementals with heat.
Yep.
Man.
Wow.
It's a classic package deal.
It is.
What's the SpongeBob? How original, sir.
Yeah.
If it works,
bold. Daring today, aren't we? Yeah.
So SpongeBob is way after my time.
Oh, the memes. There's 2 generations of memes here.
It's Denham's turn to be like, what are you talking about?
Anyways, so he takes out my Piranha turn 1, and I was like, crap, the secondary was have your fastest unit survive, and I was like, well, I ain't getting that one. And I even put it behind cover. He just moved and was like, got lucky. But yeah, no, that was a rough game. By the end of it, I had put my Triskelion on the objective because it's the second most tanky, and it has a 360 turret ability, which all tripods have. And he just put every unit he had left into it and got it by 1 structure. And I was like,
Because there were points to be made for even getting it 4 inches off the center of the table.
You need more than 6. So
more than 6?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So you got to have at least
12.
A movement of 12. Because if you sprint, you dropped it, right?
Yeah, you couldn't sprint with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to either have for 2 turns or you got to have something fast that's sitting on it.
Yep.
He got onto the objective first, and I was like, you got to be TMM 0, so I'm going to focus fire on other things. I think that's what paid off for me. But by the end of it, the Ares was dead. I was putting my Firestorms 2 or 3 medium damage shots or medium range shots at a dasher at 23 inches away to get a tie. So I eked out. But man, that game was intense but fun. Especially because it was like, we're fighting over an objective, but neither of us have the tools to take the objective.
Yeah.
You're fighting around an objective.
We are fighting around an objective. We can't ignore it, because if we ignore it, it's gone. But if we try to get it, our units are dead. So there was a screw me, screw you situation.
Yeah, that is an exciting mission. I agree. How about you, Dustin?
So I played Andrew McGee, which I think you guys played.
I know him.
I got to play on the Starport, which was great. This is one of the boards that had lots of line of sight blocking, lots of cinematic moments because of that. But yeah, so what did Andrew bring? He brought he had 2 big indirect fire pieces. I think they were LRM carriers, and he had 2 super cheap field artillery units. I think 1 armor, 1 structure. And he had a C3 thing going on with a big old tank. That was the master. And yeah, so that's what he brought. My general battle plan was usually I would keep the choppers as like a attack pair, but I was like, I'm sending my choppers for the field artillery, because it was like 1 armor, 1 structure. I got to get that artillery off. I'm going to lose that artillery duel. And I know, because I got artillery, I know.
We call that counter battery fire.
Right. And I was going to lose that one. So I sent in my attack choppers. My plan and my overall plan, because I lost this mission last year pretty bad. I think it was game 4 last year. The whole theme of last year, Dustin's first tournament, was playing too hard on the primary objective. So I played this one my plan was to play this one real slow and just try to win the attrition game. And that's mostly how the game went. I did my Warhammer 2C3, got deleted in 1 turn with the indirect fire. So I think it was like turn 2 where Andrew got to pull the whole C3. All the things went off and was like, basically auto hitting.
LRM carriers are no joke, especially with C3.
Welcome to short range. How may I take your order?
That's right. But I think that was when I, for highlights and lowlights, I think I blew the treads off of the already kind of slow C3 master and took that off the board. I did kind of drop I had my infantry bomb, which usually was just exploded on the objective. So I wasn't putting the infantry on the objective to get it, because I was like, if I table my opponent, maybe I'll get that thing. But I was mostly just zoning, doing a little bit of zoning and putting the infantry on the tank, because the tank's TMM was low and my tortoises and phalanx can do tons of damage to low TMM targets, especially medium range. So that's where I put them, where I got them out at. The attrition game went both ways, and we both, winnowed our lists down. We had a great cinematic fight. I had a great game, and we tied. It was a tie. Nobody touched the objective.
Look at that. Both of us tying.
Yep.
Look at that. Now, I have played Andrew before with that list, and it is one of the reasons why I always take flak as well.
He's got the spotter.
Yeah, he's got that spotter for it's just a problem.
Yeah, and one of my and it was a beautiful army too. But one of my like early game plan decisions with the chopper was to ignore the chopper and just kill the damage dealers, because I didn't have any flak. I was like, I don't really have an answer for the chopper. So it was like, do I send my choppers after his chopper, or do I get the artillery off the field? And with the C3, I was like, if I kill the artillery and then the LRM batteries, I felt like that was more important. Don't know if it was the right call, but that's what I did. So yeah, great game too.
But nobody got the pod?
Nobody got the pod.
Yeah.
No, people in the tournament did get the pod. There's I feel like there was only one person last year, and I ended up playing him later, who got it off last year, and then he got it off the board again this year. And I was like, you mad lad, you did it. You did it twice.
Can't keep getting away with it.
But I would say like maybe 10% each year of the players actually got the objective off the board, and maybe the same amount moved it a little bit. But I mean, it's a tough match. I want to clarify that it's my least favorite mission, but I don't think it's a bad mission, in my opinion. I think it would reward a certain kind of list that I don't know a lot of people that bring that kind of list. It's like a metagame wise, I don't know if we'll see it again next year, which there's no guarantees. But
there's always going to be like a capture the flag mission, like whether it's this style or a different style. And I feel like you have to be prepared for capture the flag with a twist. And this is the twist is it takes a turn to pick it up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the hardest mission. I don't think it's the worst mission. I don't think it's a bad mission. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know if there's any way I could play it better than just.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one. I think the answer is like you gotta get good out the gate, and you gotta capitalize on it.
And the people who did get the objective off the board, I know for a fact that one of them basically had to table their opponent, and I would guess that the other games went in a similar direction.
Yeah,
I would guess.
But if you table your opponent, technically the game ends. So
right. So you got to leave something alive to nibble at your ankles or something like that.
Yeah, you play Free Worlds League, right, Dustin?
Yes, I did play Ill Clan era Free Worlds League.
Yeah, and I believe Andrew has Liren, so he was Steiner.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's actually, that's a battle that could happen in real life,
in real universe. Yeah,
yeah,
that was a good cinematic game at the starport, nonetheless. And in the mission, it's written that he's like a diplomat, and whoever gets the diplomat, takes control of the planetary government or something like that. So it's a good mission. Good narrative.
All right. We're so deep in, and we're only on game 3, but this is how it is.
It's the big event of the year.
No, it is. Yeah. It's 2 days.
Glad we started early.
1 second.
All right, so that was game 2. That was exciting. What happened in game 3?
Game 3 is what I like to call Red Rover. Red Rover, send the enemy's force on over. This one's a hold the line where you score if you have more of your points on the enemy side than the enemy has on your side. This is the change places.
You and I did a practice run.
We did the practice one of this one, and it was what I thought would be my worst mission. And I think we proved in practice this is what my list does best. Against my the theory of just looking at my list, you would think, oh, this is terrible. This one's like, bro, this is walk forward and win. So I played Matt Lewis, and he brought a weird Fidelis / Republic of the Sphere / Jags list. And it was weird.
All right, so something like I might run eventually.
Maybe. He took, I don't want to go too deep into what he took, but he took 2 skill 2 LRM carriers. Okay, that's kind of normal. JES 3 missile carrier.
Ooh, lots of long range damage.
He took 2 LRM gun trailers. He took 2 Tortoise 2 battle armors, 2 Saxon hover APCs, 2 Corona battle armors, 2 Dashers, and a Cougar and a Tornado power armor. Now the Tornado is skill 6 and does 0 star, so I'm like, you're not getting the damage secondary. But.
Yeah. So this was like 50% of the points was long range stuff.
Yeah. The most expensive thing he had was a Cougar at 48, and then the alarm carriers are at 47. So I'm like, okay, your highest is 48, and the rest of yours is right under it. I say the entire list because that was a lot of. He maxed was it 16 units, and there was a Karnov in there somewhere. Oh yeah, Karnov transport.
These maps aren't big enough to really capitalize on the long range bracket.
No, but it's still a medium. It's important. But turn 1, he just runs all of his guys up on one side of the table. He doesn't even bother with the other side. The alarm carriers, they can move what? Oh, the other thing
6.
is the gun trailers are attached to the alarm carriers. So
they had hitches. Yes.
So your 4-inch moat goes to 2-inch. So what's the point of moving then? You just sit still and hit it skill 1. I'm like, at that point, I know you can't get 100, 25% of your list across the table. You physically can't.
Yeah.
My Ares moves 4 inches.
Yeah, I know.
But
you can sprint that guy
you
for
can
6,
sprint
right?
it for 6. And I sprinted it because I was like, all right, if I start on the line, inch, I need, 4 turns? 4 turns with 1 sprint to get fully across the line. I was like, all right, that's not bad. I can do that. Yeah, so they did a whole bunch of inventory stuff. There were some rules questions, where they knew the game, but I don't think they had practiced with their list. And I was like, it doesn't work like that and all that. So it made it kind of frustrating along. They took so many units, but they also had like some decision paralysis because they had so many. And I think that's something that a player needs to avoid doing. Like you need to build a list for you, not for what you think is a good list. I think they could have built a better list that did more of what they wanted.
It comes with experience.
Yeah. Highlights of that is I focus fired on one of the hover transports and smoked the Tortoise 2s still inside. Oh yeah.
Rough. There were games where I was scared. And in those games, I like turn ones my transports. I was like, okay, you look like you can take my Zod off the table on turn one. So Zon's going out and dropping the party, but the party.
Yeah. So it's only like power armor that are on mechs that if the transport explodes, they just pop out.
If you're on an Omni and the Omni dies, they just drop.
Right.
If you're inside the transport, you die.
But yeah, that game, I had to come out the gate swinging. I had to I threw my cheaper units away to like stop because I was like, if I kill a transport, because all this stuff is like closely same PV. I was like,
right,
Vulture and Piranha, you guys are fast. You do a lot of damage. Go after those LRM carriers like for points, just so they're not hitting my little cheap guys. And the rest of my guys were like, hey, you're a wall. You walk through his dashers and Corona and all that. Like everything you kill is points for me. By the end of it, it was 224 points across the line to 78 points across the line. So,
yeah.
I didn't get a lot of secondaries, so it wasn't like the best blowout. In fact, it wasn't a blowout, but it was like I needed that first early win. So that was a 21-11.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, 21. And you're concerned with the points you're getting. So 21 points is like, that's not a blowout, but a high scoring game.
Yeah, that's a top 2/3 of the scoring. Dustin, how did your game go?
I mean, I lost, but so I played David, local guy that we played with at the local game store once. We did some practice rounds and stuff.
You played Warwolf from the Discord.
From the Discord, yes. I was trying to remember his Discord handle, but yeah, so I played David, Warwolf, and so Warwolf, he had some heat infantry, some like mid-range clan skill 3 bruisers, and peripheral stuff. I don't remember the list super well, but it was kind of like a heat infantry thing. And Dasher H, I'm pretty sure,
of course,
and just some good hard hitting skill 3 clan stuff, and or mixed tech. I don't even remember, but no, I think it was like a Ghost Bear list or something. So it was clan, and so my battle plan was to just kind of put the infantry bomb in the middle and send my choppers in after like some high value targets and to keep my Warhammer alive. So real quick, one meta thing that I kind of accidentally did last year and I kind of purposefully did this year is I like to make sure that I have a medium or a heavy mech that's more expensive than my big assault mech, because if people don't pay attention to the secondaries and my list, they blow my assault up and they leave my actual most expensive unit to live, which was, I think that was +2 points for this game. So yeah. I did end up getting that secondary just because that was kind of like a meta, thing. Like if you don't catch it, you don't catch it.
Yeah. I did that with my commander too. I never put him on my biggest guy.
Yep. And so I think my battle plan was not great. David straight up outplayed me, and I think I ignored the Dasher H too long. I put my infantry that out damaged his infantry in the middle of the board instead of leaving it on my side and saving that damage for his, stuff and trying to keep other stuff alive and make it to the other side of the board.
So was the Dasher H not like your priority target with artillery? Because I feel like that's like the hard counter.
It is the hard counter, and I got distracted with the infantry, which has 4 health. So it took me,
twice as much.
Yes, and I got greedy because I wanted to hit, I wanted to get more damage, but I could have dropped the artillery on top of the Dasher. Not only did I not drop the artillery on the Dasher H, which, spoiler, that's coming up. I also could have sent my choppers after the Dasher H. If I sent both of my choppers after the Dasher H, which positioning wise, I don't know if that was possible turn 1 or something, but I could have gotten rid of it. I did a lot of things wrong. And I got outplayed, but it was a great game. I had a great game with David. Thanks for playing. Yeah. And I think this wasn't a blowout, but it was like, it was the reverse. Like I had like 11, 12 or something like that. And David had like 20 points or something.
Okay. I feel like the combined arms list struggle on this mission specifically because a lot of them rely on a slower back line, like a more anchory mid, and then like 1 or 2 fast. And I'm like, I think the combined arms struggles on get everybody across the line.
Right. Yep. And my list was built around infantry bomb in the center, not built around infantry past the center of the board. And my transports can take a little bit of heat, but they can't take a lot of heat. And they got, the point, I don't want to lose a transport and the guys inside. So
Ds are expensive.
Oh, yeah. That would be a huge target if you leave it. You leave it in there 1 turn.
I mean, my main go showed 19 points, and they were carrying the tortoises. So altogether, that's like 30 something points. That would have been devastating. And the main Gauche only has like 5 hit points total. So they're a little faster than the Zahn, but they're really only designed to get into the middle of the table, dump the infantry turn 1.
Yep.
And so I struggled and I lost. Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean, I fought a pretty close, mirror to your list, and it ran into the same problems.
Yeah. Denham, any comments? Anything to add?
I mean, that's a mission I've actually played. I agree. Like it's one of those things where if you have fewer units, it's going to be easier for you to get the points. With the combined arms, I almost kind of wonder if you should have the slower guys who do a lot of damage just sacrifice themselves by not moving at all and just shooting it at the mechs coming across the line. They're just there to keep points from coming over here. But there's so many points for just getting halfway across. It's a difficult one.
Yeah,
it really is. Combined arms with slower units just sounds like the worst possible combination.
This was my second highest scoring last year, and it was my second highest scoring mission this year. So this is a mission that taking just a standard like clan 2 stars list does really well at.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I want to say I tied or close loss on this mission last year. Anyways,
interesting mission though. Like that one,
swap sides.
Yeah, it's
crisscross.
It's kind of cool.
It's crisscross.
All right, well, let's go on to 4 then. What do you guys do for mission 4? And this, you had 4.
This is game 4.
Yeah, 4 on day 1. Nova was easy mode 3.
Yeah,
this is number 4. This is where I don't want to say men become boys or boys become men, but this is what really separates, because this is like, all right, this is where that marathon mode needs to kick in. People play 3 games a day. That's fine. People don't play 4 games a day.
I was totally prepared for brain mush on mission 4 because of last year. I was totally addled last year, game 4. I was doing pretty good game 4 this year.
I told you, man, that cocaine I slipped you, that'll perk you right up.
It will. Had me going.
But yeah. So for game 4, this is 3 objectives on the center line.
Such a good mission.
Quote, strategic points is the actual title.
Right. And this is a pretty classic type of mission. Like we've seen this quite a few times.
It's a wargaming staple.
Yeah, no, like there's nothing. Do you have units that can hold objectives? Yes.
Right.
Can they all hold the objective in the center of the board? Yes. Okay, you're good. Literally nothing to write home about. It's just, can you hold objectives?
Can you hold the center?
Because we kind of mentioned this, and this is like the first big objective one. VTOLs were specifically written in most of the missions, whether they could contest or capture. But for most times, they had to be on the ground to capture. They could contest sometimes if they were in the air, but to capture, they had to be on the ground.
Yeah, they had to land.
I don't want to do that. If I be told.
Oh man. So
yeah.
But I played John from MRC from the last episode because $20 slipped under the table to play the people that goes over real well, right?
I hear that. I do.
No. This was just pure luck of the draw. But yeah, I played John, and I played he just played his mercs. They're just mercenaries. He's got some Cyclops, Nightstar, Bushwhacker. Like, it's all pretty standard, Ill Clan era mercs. There's nothing really weird about it. What is weird is that's like 90% of the list, and there's 4 battle armor units, and they're the Fenrir's and the Rottweilers.
I know Fenrir's. What is a Rottweiler?
What's it? Is Fenrir the fast one?
Yeah.
Rottweilers are the damage one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you got two battle armor that do 4 damage in short and have a slow TMM. And you got 2 battle armors that are real fast and do less damage. And I'm like, great, the 2 kinds I hate. I hate high damage and I hate high speed. My general battle plan for this one was a little tough because I was like, I can take 2 maybe, but maybe I can knock out enough of them that I can hold 3 and then pick which of the 2 I want to really focus on.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew that. See, you try to take all 3 of them.
Do I get greedy?
At the same time.
Do I get greedy?
and it's always bad for you. Just pick 2.
Why am I like this?
I don't know, but you've done it every time I've seen you play that mission type.
Josh, I'm going to deploy things to every objective and split my forces in even thirds.
And I said, good.
Other enemy. Well, I'm going to focus on 2 and divide half of my army to fight your third of our army. I'm like, no, you're supposed to fight me in thirds.
Yeah.
The classic Josh is split his forces. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of objective. Yeah, no, I'm bad at this. And I did not. Game 4, I lost my, the guy that, stops me is like, don't do it, man. go for 2. Yeah, I got greedy. I split my forces. I will say I didn't split them as much as I would have normally. But with only 10 units, I had to split a little bit.
Yeah.
So Ares is going for the middle. Oh, the big note for this mission is you get a secondary point. You get 2 secondary points if you do not use your highest point unit to hold an objective. And I'm like, crap.
Oh, no.
It's okay because your Ares is going to take 4 turns to get up there anyway.
Yes, but it's the best thing about the Ares is it sits on an objective. And I know that. And I built this list around that. And I had to do the math. And I'm like, all right, what's worth
between 2 objectives?
And that's what I did.
Yeah.
That's what I did. And it's like, okay, but what can I... And I do the math, and I'm like, I need 2 turns of objectives, of it sitting on an objective to cancel out not being on an objective. So I need 3 turns on an objective with a super heavy that moves 4 inches. I'm like, I can't do it. But every time I get an objective, I, reduce the difference because it's all margin. That's the problem. It's all margin. So it's like, I can't do the math. There's too many variables. I got my butt kicked that game. I did some amazing shots. I did amazing things. I spent way too long shooting at stupid TMM for battle armor.
Yeah.
Yep. I killed everything except 2 of his units. I killed essentially his 2 heaviest units. And they just sat on objectives, and I couldn't put the Ares on the objective because it would lose me 2. But I should have at that point just put it on the objective and just like, okay, well, you're not going up by 2 points every turn. You're going up by 1 point.
Yeah, at what point do your 2 bonus points not matter anymore?
After 2 turns.
So,
actually, that's the thing. It's like I was unable to do that math in game.
Right.
I'm having to I'm negative secondarying, but I also, like I said, I can't put the Ares on turn 1. So I just tried shooting, and it did okay. I failed a lot of rolls that game. He even admitted, he's like, bro, you kind of needed to just roll better on that mission. And I was like, yeah, when I split all my forces, I definitely need to roll better. Did some cool things happen? Yeah. I killed some little guys. I threw battle armor onto objectives and melee anti-mech stuff. It was all right. but nothing. I didn't get anything that would really tilt anything in my favor. So it was just a standard game. I lost 9-24. So that was my worst game.
Bummer.
Yeah. And I'm looking at your face and you're like, bro, you did exactly what I know Josh would do.
We just need to play more practice games. Yeah. That's all.
What is that? It's old, predictable Josh. No one will suspect he'll go for 3 objectives.
Not again. Surely he learned from last time.
Bro, I don't learn squat.
All right, Dustin, how about you? What'd you do?
So I played Steve, the pizza lawyer.
Sweet.
So we both got to play Steve.
We both got to play Steve.
What are the odds?
So, spoiler alert. At the end of this game, Steve's like, "You're my second favorite host now."
Ouch.
So same mission. Steve brought his Jade Falcons, starring Turkina. There is a Fire Moth H in there, right?
Yeah,
we talked about this.
we talked about that.
Okay, we talked about this. My general battle. So like, it's like I was built for this, right? That's what I was thinking. Because this is the mission. The whole thing. This is the mission I kind of had in mind.
We practiced this mission.
we did practice this mission, and it's kind of what my list was built around, because I feel like it was just my weakest game last year. I don't know what happens. So my game plan was the same thing. I put infantry bomb straight up the center, maneuverable assets in the center to take the third objective if it was neglected, or to reinforce and harass. And then the heavy boys off to the other side. And it went, I would say, pretty much exactly to plan. So Steve kind of contested the 2 that I was contested, and he made a half commitment to the third, with like his, good clan mid-range damage stuff.
Like his Loki and his Thor and all that.
And the Timberwolf. Yeah. I think he had the Timberwolf kind of mostly committed to, like, I had my maneuverable stuff half committed. He had his Timberwolf half committed. I get in there, I dump the infantry bomb on the center objective. And I mostly start winning the War of Attrition in the center. I'm pretty sure turn 1, I dropped the artillery on top of the Fire Moth H, or turn 2. I think it was turn 1.
Nice.
I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure I was like,
did it have elementals on it?
No, I don't. I think they were already off. So it might've been like turn 2 or something, or maybe it didn't even happen and I just completely can't remember, but I'm pretty sure this is the game when I dropped it on top of when I killed a Fire Moth H with artillery in 1 turn, because it has 2 HP.
Yep.
And I think mostly just because I started winning out in the middle. I played the attrition game for the first like 3 or 4 turns and started pulling ahead. I sent my choppers in to get nasty back shots. That metagame thing kind of comes into play again. He's focusing on my crab, but it's actually my Warhammer that I'm keeping off of objectives because it's 1 point more. And then eventually I just had the units to commit to all 3 towards the end of the game. And I don't think Steve had much left towards the end of the game.
I mean, that's a pretty standard fight for a combined arms versus clan. It's like clan's going to run out of stuff that can do things before you.
Yeah. So turn 1 was, and this was a mission where all you needed was 1 unit next to an objective to contest it.
No matter how many other people were.
If it's not like deal. It wasn't objective secured, it's not like, oh, I have more of my stuff on. No, it just needed 1 thing. So turn 1 was 1 to 1 point. Turn 2, I had 0 and Steve had 1 point, but then turn 4 or 3 and 4, it was 2 to 0. So it ended up being like 5 points to 2 points, which put us in a differential of 14 to 10 plus secondaries. I think I earned a couple more secondaries. This wasn't a blowout, but I want to say I'm pretty sure this was my highest scoring match. I think I got like 20, 22 or something like that. And I'd say the highlight, if I remember correctly, was nuking the Fire Moth. And nice. I don't really have a bunch of lowlights. This one really was just like one of those games where you're like, I'm on a roll, my dice were doing good, and it was all good for me.
how it is. I will say at this point in the tournament, after game 4, after day 1, I'm realizing that missions I do well at, Dustin does not do well at, and vice versa.
Yep. Yeah, because
except on the pod one, we both tied, because that's how you're supposed to play the pod mission.
Right. Yeah. So I think when we compared our wins and losses and ties, our day 1 games were opposites, right? Except for the tie.
Yep.
All right, so that was it for day 1. How are you guys feeling at this point?
I'm feeling good. I'm definitely performing better than I did last year. So I think it's baby's second tournament, which is, the second time you do anything, there's like it's the biggest improvement you'll ever have in whatever it is you're doing. So you do the thing first time and you're and then the second time you're like, oh my God, I learned so much. So I'm feeling pretty good at the end of day 1. I have a win, a tie, a loss, a win. No big blowouts, but like one solid win, two solid wins, I think, if I remember correctly. And how about you, Josh?
I want to go home.
I want to go home. Take me home.
It's like I'm at 2 losses, a tie, and 1 win. It's like, oh, why did I even come to day 2? It's not that bad. Like, I know I'm not doing that bad. And I'm like, I knew from your stuff, I was like, I didn't take things to counter things I knew that would be there. I just was like, I'm going to take what I want and see how I do. And this is how I do.
But I respect that. I totally respect you being, I'm doing sea foxes and I don't really care. Yeah. It's just going to be awesome. And I'm going to squish some people. And it's gonna be a fun thing.
I'm gonna take a super heavy and I'm gonna run it up the board, whether I like it or not.
I like it. I'm not, exactly. You're not gonna win games like that, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I will say I was expecting closer games, and like I said, my loss on day 1 against John was a little like 9-24. I was like, oh, they're even coming back from that one. And. Yeah. I will say I was also like, all right, that's 4 games. I need a timeout here, boys.
Yeah. And that's yeah. And also, man, day 1 is such a tremendous day because then you do dinner with the boys and then you go
hang out.
You go hang out and buy stuff at Fortress Games and Miniatures. Yeah, big day.
All right.
Saturday is such a big day.
Yeah. So we wrap up. I just leave most of my stuff there because I'm like, bro, please someone steal it. I don't even care anymore. If you want my Ares, you want my whole army, take it.
Take it.
At
least I don't have to play anymore.
Exactly.
But everybody looked at it and nobody wanted it.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Still like, there when you came back.
Yeah, I also left my army there. I left my thing for toting my stuff around.
I will say it's like one of the best little things. It's the little things that make a tournament, and one of the few good little, I don't want to say few, one of the best little things is end of day 1. It's the stores. It's not a store, like it's an event space, and he's like, yeah, I'm locking it up after all
locking
y'all
the
leave.
Doors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Leave everything here. Take what you want home. I'm like, I ain't taking my models home.
It's nice.
All right. So we have dinner. We go to the same pizza place because I'm a creature of habit.
Oh, gross! The grease before we're going to bed
on
a day like that.
Whoa! You get a small chimichanga dish. With a guacamole salad. Yeah.
I would say we ate light, but I was ravenous, and Steve and I are just like more chips.
Can you just pour this bean cheese dip into my mouth?
Yeah, no, it was chip time. I was so hungry.
Yeah, 4 games, and we kind of rushed for lunch day 1 too. So
yes,
we were hungry, but we ate. Couldn't get the banquet hall, so it was a smaller crowd this year, but it was great hanging out with John Sharpton and Steve and Dan from Listening to Paint Dry. It was then we went to Rob's. We went to Fortress Miniatures and Games, and we do what we always do when we go to a Battletech mecca.
Buy things you didn't know you even, because you find stuff you're like, I didn't even know this existed. I gotta buy it.
To be fair, like on one hand, I probably should have asked how much the thing I asked Josh to pick me up was. On the other hand, it didn't matter. I would have gotten it anyway.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I should have been like, you really want this? Okay.
The answer would have been yes, but
yeah.
But at least then I would have known.
I thought you knew. I thought you go to... I thought the week when you're making the list, you're not looking at the list. You're looking at Fortress Games' website.
Oh, and no, I'm looking at mechs and stuff that I want.
I had a 30-unit list of things I might want. Not even things I do need. Things I might want.
Second mortgage for that? Or what?
Dustin knows I do 2 big shopping trips a year. There's the week or there's the month before Fortress.
And then the
day of the Fortress.
Yep.
And I just buy everything then.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you picking that up for me.
I buy in bulk. That's my problem. I'm just like, I'm just getting all my mechs I need for the year right now. Also, no Kickstarter for like 4 months.
So not me, because
my November cash is full. Why is that? Oh yeah, I was planning for this whole Kickstarter thing. But yeah, I had a wish list. I didn't get as much on it as I thought, but I did get some stuff. It's always crazy just looking through Rob's like house / basement, just all the Battletech stuff that he has.
So jealous.
It's a pretty incredible collection.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like going to a store. It's like going to a museum, and some of the exhibits are for sale.
Well, cool. We'll have to do Ares versus Poseidon.
Yes. Sorry that I bought you a tripod.
All right, Game 5.
Game 5. So we go to sleep.
Get back there.
Yeah.
Time to play again.
Yeah.
Go to sleep, eat breakfast, hang out with the guys
now,
in the breakfast.
The good thing about day 2 is it's the day of the daylight savings time change, so everybody gets an extra hour sleep.
That was nice.
So
cheating.
Good.
But we also started an hour earlier.
Yeah. You want that to sleep? Okay. You want to start extra early and get out early? Yes, every time.
Yes. But psychologically, it felt good.
So good. I need to point out that at that point, Rob had released end of day 1 standings for battle points.
Ooh.
Yes. So this is interesting. I, in the day 1 standings, am in 4th place, and I'm freaking out in my head a little bit because there's like the fork in the road, and I'm like, oh man, if I try really, really hard, I could win. And then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get in my own head and be weird about it and stuff. So I chill out about halfway through Game 5, but the first half of Game 5 was just like a weird place mentally for me.
You're like, I'm not supposed to be doing this good. Why am I doing this good?
Yes,
Brain's
correct.
calculating how I'm here instead of just playing Battletech.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place.
And I was in that dangerous place until about, like I said, halfway through Game 5, and I got out of it.
That's good.
I got back into like we're here to have fun mode, which is good.
Good.
Which is good.
So tell me about Game 5. What was it?
Hold up. First we got to do like where Josh at? What the dog doing?
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm in like 31st place.
Josh is halfway home at this point.
I definitely. The worst part was someone who was there was like, Josh, you're so high up. You're like,
is the wrong Josh?
Yeah. No, it wasn't even my name. I was like, bro, my name ain't on here. He's like, what? I was like, that's John. My name is Josh. He's like, oh God, let me edit this right now. I was like, bro, I didn't need this right now.
Why are you doing this?
I thought we were friends, man. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I can do what I plan to do. I was like, all right, participation still counts, or I can just like put some DMX on the radio and try to like get in the hardcore zone.
See, if I were there, I'd just tell you, you're doing what you came to do. You're bringing a giant robot and you're stomping on people. You were not. I don't know if you were doing it on purpose or subconsciously, but you did not build a list to win. You built a list to dominate with Clan Seafox, win or lose.
It was definitely like a little bit of both subconscious and conscious. I was like, I won last year. I won Nova, and I kind of don't want that pressure right now. Like I would rather take things that I want to take rather than take optimal things and make it work. And subconsciously, I just want to take giant robot and be that guy.
So 30 something place was about the middle of the pack. So that's where you should be.
Yeah, I'm bottom half. So and there's nothing wrong with being there. There's nothing wrong with being there. I've been there before. I've done a lot of tournaments. Most things I'm in the middle of the pack, and that's fine. I will say I was like, little subconscious Josh came out and was like, "Hey, man, it's a marathon." And I do the meme. It's like, okay, the Avengers meme. It's like, now would be a good time to get angry. And he turns around and he's like, "That's my secret. I'm always angry." But instead, it's now would be a good time to wake up. And I'm like, no, this would be a good time to be tired. I'm always tired. And I'm like, I can do it because I'm always exhausted playing Battletech. I practice tired.
Yeah.
Mission 5.
Mission 5.
I'm going to call it King of the Castle.
Yeah, that's King of the Disco Castle.
Yeah. There's one objective. It's surrounded by some Death Ray designs, like walls. Like they are MDF walls with acrylic like shields. Like
insert.
Yeah,
shield.
They are beautiful. I have 2 pairs and I use them for like my skirmish war games and my 40K. So they're great. Like I have these.
Yep.
But the thing was, they blocked line of sight. You couldn't shoot through them. There were some gaps, so there was always a way you could get in, but they blocked a lot of line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of every movement phase, you roll to see if they came on or not. 50% chance they go up, 50% chance they go down.
Yep.
So I was like, oh God.
This sounds like the Colosseum in Solaris.
Some people even said it's like, oh, Solaris style,
Balls.
game. Yeah. And one other point about the mission is that the central objective is not like any of the other objectives in the game. You get 1 point for every unit that's on the objective. There's no contesting. It's just mass.
Bocce ball.
Yeah.
So if I have 10 units and then my opponent has 10 units, we both score 10 points.
Still with the differential at the end of the game. Yeah. But, yeah.
So I get John from MRC's brother, Chris. And I was like, I literally like scream at myself like, come on, man, I just got my teeth kicked in. I don't need another one of y'all. But then I realized, no, this whole mission is really just walk forward and stop at the midline.
It's amazing how good your army is at that.
But I did have to play it differently because he took a very brutal, I want to say Clan Ghost Bear list. He had the Kodiak, he had Mad Cat, he had Nova, he had Elementals and Dashers. I was like, this is Clan Star versus weird Clan Star.
Yeah.
I won initiative. I picked my side. My side had more alleyways, but less direct routes to the center objective, so I wouldn't be able to make it to the objective turn 1. And I did that on purpose so I could get the partial cover, like for almost every one of my units. It was rough, but I needed it. I let him get on the objective with his Dasher and Elementals, and I blew them off turn 1. Turn 2, he's got multiple guys on it. I kill some of them, and I'm still not on the center objective. He scores 3 points, so he's up 3, and I'm still got 0. And I'm like, okay, next turn, everything's in medium range, and I've wounded like a third or half of his guys, and he's only killed 2 of my 2 lights. I just unload. Ares sprinted. Like I was like, shields up, doesn't matter. Shields down, doesn't matter. Ares needs to be on the center objective.
Yep.
I maxed this one out with all the scores. I get full differential, more than 12 points difference, and I get every secondary. I capture the middle objective with my lowest point unit. I've got my biggest point unit on it. I do everything. I get a full 35 points.
Wow. So you get your blowout game.
I get the blowout game, which I need, like mentally. I needed that mentally more than I needed it score-wise.
Yeah, it's like you needed it both.
I needed it for morale, but it wasn't that Chris played badly or anything. It was just...
Oh, did you have this special dice that don't roll below a 9? I know those dice.
Actually, my rolling was not great. Like, I was not doing any more damage than normal. I wasn't winning initiative. I was just like, this is the target for this turn. And if it dies, then I move on to the next one. And I had like, when you're playing just a generic star or 2 stars of Clan Max, you kind of know what to kill first.
Yep.
And I was like, kill that. Then I move on to that. Kill the Vulture. then, kill the Nova or kill the Mad Cat. And then I was like, okay, once the easy stuff's, then you kill the Kodiak because that does all the damage. He put a lot of heat on my mechs, and I was just like, I don't care. I don't care.
I don't want them to be able to move once they're on the objective.
Exactly. So I was like, heat doesn't matter for most of these missions. You can heat me up. I'm +3 as long as if you hit me again, I shut down. Don't care. I'm on the objective.
Yep. I'm not going anywhere.
I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. And that also because once I got on the objective, he was like, I can't brawl with this. He has a brawler list, so he backed off, and every gate on his side closed.
Oh
no.
Oh.
I was like, no, man, you got to get in there. You commit. I'm sprinting with an Ares. I don't care. Oh, but that was my highlight, just getting on the objective and getting the max score. He had some good shots.
Needed win.
It was hard because he was higher skill, so he was always hitting more than me. But yeah.
But you were rolling more than him. So
yes, I had heavier stuff on the objective that could tank and brawl. So Dustin, how was your game 5?
Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, it was headspace time. So I'm 4th place, so I'm playing. I'm like, I know this is going to be top of the the elo or whatever, however you want to say it. So my opponent for this game, which is called Tactical Chaos, but yeah, it was John. I forgot to write down John's last name, but John was the guy who got the objective off the table last year and this year. I had a great game. Let's see. What did John bring? John brought, so he had an Annihilator, which is like 660. Oh, and he had a Hunchback 2C. So yeah. So those were kind of the only oddball units. The rest of it was clan, it was a clan star list. So lots of skill 3, lots of heavy hitters, lots of team M2, because that's how the clan, no battle armor, and some token tanks, an Oro or something, and something else. So it was like token tank support, which was a little interesting. And my battle plan was I was like, okay, I can get my transports up, and my transports are vehicles, so they're small enough that I have guaranteed like line of sight blocking unless something crazy happens on turn 1. So I was like, I'm going to put my infantry, I'm going to prepare the infantry bomb for turn 1. And I run my Mercury onto the objective turn 1. So I score a cheeky point turn 1. The infantry bomb is going to go off on turn 2. And John is like clearly a skilled miniatures wargamer, so he's starting to split fire lanes. He's taking partial cover on the outside of the death ball, and I'm preparing. So he's getting ready to split the lanes up and stuff, and I'm getting ready to explode the bomb. So turn 2 comes, I explode the bomb. There was one turn where his Annihilator was in the water and his Black Knight was in the water because it had just taken some heat somehow, and the shield goes down, and that's like 11 points of damage. And that's how this mission goes. It's just up to the dice. But I was just like, oof, all the shields on his side go down. All the ones on mine side are up. And I was like, that's rough. I think that was like turn 2 or 3 or something like that. But I score 3 points on turn 2. I score 2 points on turn 3. I score a point on turn 4, and John is still at 0 points. So at this point, John has killed a lot of my stuff. I am plugging holes on his side with my vehicles. I'm like taking my infantry fighting vehicles, which he has ignored, and I am literally blocking movement into the center of the map.
Bro, that's some big brain energy for game 5.
Yeah. and I'm feeling pretty good at this point. Cause it's turn 4. I've got 5, 6, 7 points, and he has 0. Turn 5 comes, and this is when it flips because I've got basically nothing left, and John still has a fair amount of stuff left. So he scores 3 points that turn, and then another 3 points the next turn. And so that's like turn 7. And by turn 7, all I have left is my artillery. He's shot down my choppers at this point. He's shot the Mercury down, and he's got 3 units. I managed to kill another one, and now he's got 2 units, and I've got 1. And we play to the end, and he just wins by the numbers. It's not a blowout. The differential. So we go to the third bracket for differential, which is 16-9 base points. So I lost. It wasn't. It was a solid win for him, and a solid loss for me. I think I scored like 10 or 11 points, and he scored like 20 something, 25. Yeah, the mind game, I was like halfway through the game, I got myself to chill out and like, you're here to roll dice and have fun. So that was good. And then I think I made the mistake I made last year, and I played the objective way too hard, way too early. My first day, I was like, play conservatively. That was my biggest problem last year. Just take your time, play the long game. And I did not listen. I did not do that this game, and I paid for it. So this was a loss. I think the biggest loss of the tournament for me, differential wise. But yeah, that was my game 5 highlights. Highlights was the shield going down, and then he got to just like blast all my stuff. Another highlight was I saw the Hunchback 2C. I was like, I see you. You've got TMM1. You're going to die. And I did. I killed the Hunchback 2C. I thought about sending my choppers after the Annihilator because it doesn't have a lot of armor, does have a lot of structure, does a lot of damage, has no TMM, but he already had it in the water. And choppers do die if you send them into a mass of skill 3 stuff. Also spent way too much time shooting at a executioner with partial cover. So that's 9s. 9s is a bad number to roll. Do not roll
Josh,
9s.
and you're not Josh. So
look, I'll fully admit, when I needed those 9s, they weren't there this tournament. I shot way too many. Like, TMM 5 or TMM 4 plus a target number modifier of 1, and I'm skill 4. Like, it's 9s, and I was like, come on, Ares, you got 8 dice. You can get more than 1 9.
Yeah. Yeah, and my mentality in this whole turn, if it's above an 8, it's throwaway. It's just throwaway dice. And I wasn't using throwaway shots on that executioner, and that was I don't remember the board well enough to know if there was something better I could have been doing. It was mostly injured. I took like 2 turns to take it down, or 3 turns. It was rough. I lost.
I think the big thing was I played the game like the gates were always up. Mm-hmm. So when they were down, I was like, okay, I still have the line of sight of the targets I want.
And that is how John played. He was outside of the Annihilator being in the pond, which was that was just the way the board was laid out. The pond was behind the gate. I was inside, and he was lining the firing lanes up on the edges of the gates and stuff. So my game was actually on the stream for this one. So, nice.
Yeah.
You can watch one of each.
You can watch me slowly move the Ares through rocks. But yeah, there was no real cover in the gate zone. So it was like, if you're in there, you're taking everything I got.
I walked around to get water at some point, and there was a lot of games with a lot of stuff in the middle. Just like big, nasty death pits everywhere.
Yeah. I think you rushed in too fast, Dustin. I agree.
Definitely.
Like looking at that picture now.
I mean, that's what Chris did for my opponent. Like, he rushed in, and I was like, yes, rush in. Let me kill you.
Fish in a barrel.
And then my literally tankiest mech at the tournament will walk in and be like, yeah, shoot me, whatever. I'm getting my 1 point.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the way that you've got that your army is set up, Dustin, you want him clumped up in one area.
I know.
Yeah. It just,
but he was playing the long game. He was not even interested in getting inside of that kill zone until
because you had artillery, and he knew that.
Yeah.
Yep. You're right. You got outplayed. But,
I got outplayed,
but it happens.
Yep,
it happens.
So great game.
Cool. All right, last game.
Last game.
Game 6.
We've made it. Scaled the hill.
And this was the last game last year where it was 5 objectives, 2 on your side, 2 on the enemies, and 1 in the middle. And
in the middle. So not only was this the same, this was last mission last year was the same. I also got the same person. So I played Will P. Yeah. And this was my last mission last year. It was all the same. I was like, hey, Will, what's up, man?
Rematch.
Who won last time?
I want to say we tied it last year. I can't remember, or maybe I lost. It wasn't a win. I don't think it was a win for me last year. It's been so long, but it was tight. It was tight. It was not a decisive win or loss. That's what I do remember. Either way, but I'm already talking, so I guess I'll go first this time. He brought I think it was Ghost Bear Dominion. It was kind of a strange list, in my opinion.
A lot of Ghost Bear players.
Yeah. So he had like three things kind of going on. He had the 880 Kodiak, like most people do. He had this partial C3 thing with some, so it was like Kodiak C3 network with like 2 or 3 good kind of like long range indirect fire things, and 2 jump strong and fast boys. So there were 2 jump strong units. So my battle plan was to slow and steady, win the race. I felt like when it came to attrition games or just an attrition match, I feel like I could, except for when I played David, I could always out attrition, especially with my choppers. They were just so good at, once turn 3 was around and there was a straggler, the weak part of the herd, and the choppers would just go eat it alive, whatever that was. But we had a good game. It was really neck and neck because we were both playing slow and steady. I kind of started, he took I do remember highlight wise, he took my Warhammer off the table turn 1, and I was going to strike and fade with my Warhammer, and I didn't have any time to fade because he just killed it. But I got his longer range elements whittled down with my like midboard stuff, but most of my infantry was in the back. Also, a lot of people in the tournament forgot to put there was a killing field in the middle because game 5 was the disco ball, and we got rid of the disco ball, and nobody rearranged you're supposed to rearrange the tournament.
Terrain,
the terrain was supposed to all go back into the middle. So most players they had their, yours 2 and I had my 2, and there was just like a barren wasteland with an objective in the middle of it.
Is that why there was a barren wasteland on my table too?
Yes, God. That is why. Somebody specifically talked about that. It was like, I remember somebody, I think it was in the Fortress Discord, was like, hey, one critique for game 6. And Rob was like, you were supposed to move the terrain back. And
we were supposed to move it, or
I guess, yeah.
I think the problem is you don't know what was there because you show up and it's the table's arranged. So you're like, move it back, and you're like, move what back? This is how I found it.
So, there was that. I got lucky. My Seraph put 2 heat on his Kodiak at medium range, like pretty early on in the game.
So good
to do that. I'm trying to think of any other highlights. His Griffin and his Panther with the jump strong were a little difficult. He had infantry. He had battle armor that could 4 altogether, 4 all day. I forget how he got 4, but there was 1 battle armor on one objective that was always 4 to hit, and there was another one on the other objective that was always 4 to hit. I left all my infantry on my objective. And then towards the end of the game, if I look at, I'm pretty sure I have the scores for this one. Shoot, I just rearranged these. Sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah, so we were 2-2 for the first 2 turns. Turn 3, I sneak out to the center objective because I've taken enough of his units off the table that I'm not afraid of my fast guys dying anymore on the center objective. So I think I put both my choppers in the center just to do damage because they have to be landed to hold it, and I don't want to hold it with the choppers, but I do also put the Mercury in there, and he only lands 1 damage on the Mercury that turn, so I get 3 that turn.
Nice.
And then so I was 1 point ahead, and then we only got to turn 4 because it's it was just the last game, and I was just like, whatever, man, I'm just here to have a good time. But what I did do is the last turn, I landed both of my choppers on his objectives to contest them. And I asked Rob real quick, do they get their TMM when they're landed? And he said they no longer get VTOL because they're not using VTOL movement anymore, or they're not flying, but they still get their TMM on that turn. Obviously, if you don't take off the next turn, you don't get the...
Right.
So that was a TO call. I have not researched that.
That's correct. As far as I've Because that actually came into effect for mine too.
Yep. So he had his TMM4 battle armor, and I'm like, you cannot do enough damage to kill my choppers. And by the way, I lost a lot of choppers after taking 1 point of damage. But if they're landed, they don't crash and die. So I landed them, contested the objectives, and I pulled 3 ahead for a differential of 3 points. And I got a win on that game. Also not a blowout, but a win. And that was my game.
Now, my comment on Will's army, partial C3, I feel that partial C3 is the way to go.
You don't want not to commit.
Yeah, don't give everybody C3. It's too expensive, but have like a sub team in your army that is the C3 unit.
But yeah, it was a good list. It was I feel like a combination of lucky rolls and being cheeky at the end with landing my choppers and contesting.
No, that's totally. I'd have no problems with you doing that in the game. I'd be like, "Oh, that sucks," but I would respect that.
Yeah.
You don't, especially after I killed your Warhammer turn 1. That was me.
Yeah. That was. I was like, "Oof, that
demoralizing."
But yeah, a great game. Thanks, Will, again for the game. And yeah, so how was your game 6, Josh?
Oh God, game 6. I played Joe from Death Ray Designs.
Oh
yeah,
Joe got. We'll talk about it when we're done. Okay,
will we? Because now I want to know.
Well, okay, so in the tournament, one of the ways you make points is how dirty your list is. Basically, you get a dirty list rating. And the lowest score was 15 and the highest was 30. So basically your score is 1 through 30 or whatever, 15 to 30.
What is it? It's spelled out. You drop your highest and lowest list score and then you double it.
Yeah. So the lowest scoring lists, or the dirtiest, as the opinion of the players, and the cheesiest, however you want to say it, the sweatiest, was 15. Joe's was 16. It was it was the second lowest scoring list. And when you told me about it, I was like, whoa, that's rough.
That list wasn't there because to make friends. No. I'm gonna list this one out. You got 2 skill 2 behemoth 2 tanks. That's a lot of armor. Turret 466. For 70 points each. We got 2 Balak strike VTOLs.
Those are the ones that do 4, 3, 1.
Yes, 4 and short.
Yeah. Even dirtier than
skill 3.
Kites.
Yeah, right.
Oh, they were skill 3. Oh.
He's got a Black Knight 18, the 5/5, skill 3. He's got a Hunchback. He's got 2 Hunchbacks, a Panther. Then he's got a Karnov, skill 7, and then he's got 2 Heat Foot platoons for 4 points.
Nice.
So yeah, a lot of damage, and doesn't really he's got things that do a lot of damage that sit still, and he's got a lot of things that do damage and gets behind you with 22-inch movement and TMM4 and then VTOL on air. So looking at 5s. That guy got off to a little bit of rough start. I think Joe had a little bit more brain burn than a lot of us, some of the lower unit ones we're dealing with. He was like, hey, my infantry get TMM1. I was like, no, they don't. There were some things right out of the game, like, hey, man, I hate to do that to you, but that's not how it works. So I think that we got off on the wrong foot just because turn 1, I was like, hey, I got to question everything now, and I'm sorry, but you've lost my trust in you establishing basic rules, and I then become a-hole Josh to make sure that you know everything, because everything needs to be cleared up for me to enjoy the game. I can't be stopping midway through. So we're like, hey, you've got 2 highest point units, and there's a secondary that affects choose your highest point. And I was like, so we got to go to the TO. Is it he gets to pick? Is it I get to pick? How does it work? And he's like, he has to pick one that's his highest point unit because he has 2 of the same. So there was a lot of those kinds of questions.
So an hour and a half once the game started and you finally start playing.
Honestly, it was. It was like, hey, we're on end of turn 1 and we've got an hour left. And I was like, ugh, yeah. Like I said, I think he just had a lot of brain burn. My list is simple. Like, it just walks forward and does damage. There's no extra brain power needed. But just because of all the rules, I literally felt my head getting hotter 15 minutes into the game. And I was like, I'm just covering basic rules.
That was the turret thing. I could feel my head getting hotter with my game 5. Because I think John said that tanks don't have rear arcs, and I was like, I'm 99% sure, but I
don't care anymore, man.
That's when I took the turn, because I was like, I started getting flush, and I was like, you know what? I'm not here to have a bad time. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm just going to let it roll, and we're just going to move forward, and I'm going to not be sweaty about this. Yeah. And so we just, yeah. But anyways.
If that were true, tanks would not have turrets.
They would have no arc, nothing at all. Yeah. They just shoot front, because everything is front for a tank then.
Exactly.
I mean,
logic it through, Dustin. You can do it. It's fine. No, it's fine. It's actually like the last page when they do like coloring thing. But
no, I knew that they had rears.
Right. It's the arguing part. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't do this right now, guys. So I played him. That was, like I said, got off rough.
Yeah, you sucked all the fun out of this game for me. Thanks.
Yeah, no. But then I just kind of wanted it to be over. It went down to the wire. It was very close. I had shot his Karnov down. His Karnov on skill 7 with a 0-star had shot my Sylphs. Yeah. Because, but I went in and was like, I got to kill infantry. And it's like, Sylphs do great at killing infantry because they just head over and just blah, blah. It was definitely like we were playing like, okay, I have to move, and then the next thing has to be perfectly placed for like line of sight blocking and within range of an objective. And I think that slowed it down as well. So like Piranha moved, and like we spent 5 minutes, and then it got to me, and I was like, okay, my Piranha moves here, and he literally was like, good game, sir, and just shook my hand. He's like, you've put it in the one place where it has no line of sight to 3 of my units that would have killed it.
Yep.
I was like, yeah. I just move. I don't think. I just move. Piranha go chomp. But no, the highlights for Joe's game was my Vulture wouldn't die to things that should have killed it. Like a Balak in the rear arc, 1 inch away, putting 4 damage plus
5.
rear. Yeah, plus rear. So 5. And it only doing like 3.
Oh.
I was like, on 5s, because skill in TMM, I'm like, he should die. And he was like, he's got 1 structure left. You got to commit another mech to killing it. He was like, I don't want to.
That. Yeah.
Like, you gotta, man.
That was one of my favorite things about taking my main Gauches, because 5 hit points in TMM2 is enough to where people can't just take it off the table with 1 or 2 shots. You got, and there, when I'm looking at like min-maxy stuff, I'm like, I really don't ever want somebody to be able to just be like, oh, I want that dead. I'm going to kill it and just kill it. Like that's, yeah. But anyways.
Because one of the secondaries was highest, there were like 2 secondaries for highest point unit. Either yours survives or the other enemy's dead. So I was like, okay, so if he wants that, he's got to kill the Ares. And I'm looking Joe in the eyes. I'm like, he ain't killing my Ares. He don't even want to kill my Ares. You don't want to shoot through 25 blips.
That's a lot of
blips.
So I'm like, okay, I want my 2 secondary points, so I'm going to kill his 70-point Behemoth 2 tank. And I'm like, by the end of it, I'm like, can this be over yet? That's so much armor.
You didn't tell people about how they're skill 2, and then he parked them, so they were you're like,
ones,
I mean, that's like 5s at medium range.
5s at medium range. So I was like,
that's brutal.
There was just a little bit of partial cover, and I was hugging it the whole time. I was like, hug it, move for TMM2. So I moved to the other side of the rock, and I was like, this ain't even fun, because it's like I'm fighting turrets, and I hate fighting turrets mentally and physically, because I'm like, it's not a good game. Like, no one's enjoying it, because you're just sitting and rolling dice, and I'm like, move 2 inches to get TMM, get partial cover to make your skill 6s. 1 unit, shoot at medium range. All right, medium range 3. All right, now 6 up. Roll a 6 up. And how many dice are you shooting? 6?
6.
Yeah.
6.
Like, this ain't fun, man. End of game 6, I get like, he gets rear on my Spider and my Cougar, and it comes down to me with just a 2-point lead. Like, it was very close.
I eked it out.
We had to like, all right, because we went to time after like, what was it, 5 turns? Yeah, 5 turns. I was like, all right, what happens this turn? And we were like, all right, the only thing that matters is can you kill the Firestorm? And he was like, shoot, and he couldn't because I had done 2 weapon destroys on his Hunchback. I was like, yes, that's not even a Hunchback anymore.
Just a back.
And all he had was an immobilized Behemoth 2 that had line of sight on nothing. So he had to commit to spotting, and he wasn't willing because he was like, I got to do damage. So he had landed his VTOLs on objectives, and I was like, can the Ares kill a TMM4 landed VTOL? And it's like it couldn't. So I stuck with a 2-point lead. It was rough. I also hate VTOLs after that match because there was 3 VTOLs with TMM4. And I was like, this is not fun.
My original list had the King Crab had flak 330.
You were like,
I was so devastated. It's coming next year. I'm like, this crab comes next year. I'm bringing the 11.
So I eke out a win, just barely. What were you asking? Go over the end. Oh, my army comp list.
Yeah, your army comp.
I got 20, so I scored right average.
Oh wow. Yeah, I scored 20.
I mean,
I thought my list was dirtier than yours, but
I mean, your highest and lowest are dropped.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I mean, I literally explained to everyone. I was like, yeah, this list looks scary, but it does one thing. It has 1 mech that does heat, and it has 2 battle armors that don't have heat.
Everything else is TMM2.
Yeah, I'm TMN -1 for the super heavy, and TMN2 for everything else. So it's really, this list is basic. It is white girl pumpkin latte basic. With just some cool, intimidating mobs. Like I'll be honest, it's not a list you want to see in a back alley, but it doesn't have any weird tricks.
But it's easy to get confused by it because it's got unusual models.
Nobody got confused. Nobody. Everyone was smarter than the average bear. I was like, they take
I'm sad
one.
For you, but,
I would literally hand them like, here is your copy to mark on, laminated and everything. You can Sharpie it, and they'd be like, do I need to shoot the Ares? No? Okay, don't shoot the Ares.
Yeah. Like, it's got a lot of armor, but it's really slow.
Yes.
The Ares died once, right?
Twice.
Twice? Okay.
John in game 4 killed it, and Steve in game 2 killed it. Because he was like, that can get the pod. Yeah. That can get a pod. If he just commits.
Because it's -1.
Because it's -1. He's like, bro, if he stands still, he actually shoots better.
But once it gets it, it can move 2 inches.
Yes.
But you're never going to kill it. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, that's all it does. So that's end of game 6. The day is over, and we all like start packing up because we have to wait for scores to be tallied.
At this point, you're just like crying because it's finally over. You're like, I don't care what happens. I don't care who wins. It's done. Like Frodo and Mordor, just like, it's done.
It's over.
It's over. Had a great time. I'm so done. I'm so spent.
Screw you guys. I hate this. I'll see you next year.
100% see you next year.
Sorry, it's just so true.
Not really.
So,
yeah, I think in game 6, I used the phrase "I can't be bothered" like 4 times. No, it's whatever. I can't be bothered. Like, I don't care anymore.
I don't even care anymore, man.
So was 6 games over 2 days too much?
No, it's just you go.
It's the perfect amount. I'm wholly spent at the end, and I had a blast the whole entire time.
I would not do a 3-3. I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, because day 2 might drag.
Day 2 would drag, and then everyone's got to go home. So you actually need 4 games day 1.
I like it.
And then a fast like minimum. And he like last year he was like, everyone gets this much for lunch. And he was like, do y'all want to get out of here soon? And not a single person objects to starting earlier and B, a shorter lunch.
Yep.
So 5 games wouldn't be better. You feel like you need all 6.
The 6th one's kind of what separates everything. Like with that many people, you kind of need that game because it's differential. There's a lot of ties, or at least 1 point differences. So by the end of it, for so many people, you're within 10, 15 points by the end of it. And at 5 games, that would be even less.
Yeah. All right.
So we sit down and we get ready for roll call. And end of Southern Assault 2022, Carrie Joe Patton, the Unicorn Company podcast, takes best overall with 279 overall points and 145 general points.
That's out of how many points? Do we know?
210.
Gotcha.
Best general goes to Matt LeBaron, who we both fought at Nova.
I know Matt LeBaron.
He won with his Sea Foxes. Or I should say, the way Southern Assault is, you can only win one.
Right. So if you break down best general also went to Carrie.
Yeah.
By quite a margin. Right?
25.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
An impressive margin. But you can only take first in one category, yes.
But because Carrie won, then it goes to Matt.
Yeah.
The next, yeah.
Best sportsman goes to Andrew Brake. Best painted, who got that one?
I did.
It wasn't me.
It was Dustin.
Yep.
Nice. I did hear about that. So that was I got that spoiled for me, but congratulations. I heard it was well deserved from everybody who saw your stuff.
I tried super hard. I was really, really wanting to place in painted. I wasn't trying. I mean, you try for first because that's how you know.
Yeah.
But I tried. I mean, there's easily 40 hours in that army.
And best hobbyist was Justin Hall. So hobbyist is like
sportsmanship, your painting score,
your knowledge quiz,
your army comp score.
It's all the other things.
It's everything that's not best general, basically.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was a written test.
There is.
And I got the damn elemental one wrong. I was like, there's 25 at a start. No!
Yeah, technically Andrew got the better hobbyist and Justin was second for hobbyist, but that's how it works. Yeah.
Justin had a great army and I loved his display board.
No, the display boards this year were so much better, and I'm like, wow, guys.
Samir's display board was in bonkers. It was easily that was something else.
They're still not required, right?
No.
But they do help because part of your painted like extra score.
No, I heard this.
Oh,
the diorama, any extras only affects basically player's choice.
That's what I meant.
Oh, okay. So yes, correct. Your models are the only thing that counts for best painted. And I'm lucky. I wouldn't have played. I was within earshot when they were judging my best painted stuff, and they were going to dock me because I didn't have any free hands. They're like, "Oh no, it's just transfers," and I was like, "I free-handed those transfers. Don't take that away from me."
There are no transfers. It's all paid.
There are no transfers.
Did they end up realizing that, or
after he told him?
Yeah. Okay. Austin was like, "Jesus Christ, dude!" But anyways,
oh man. So those are the first place winners, and congratulations to all of them. Round of applause. Our very own Dustin taking home one of the big trophies.
I got him. I'm looking at him right now. Anyways,
I'm pretty sure Unicorn Company / Carrie has already put out their recap by now, hopefully. So
yeah, her recap, I listened to it yesterday. Was the first half is the recap, and yeah, it's good. It's fun to hear the other perspective. Yeah.
A lot of Tortoise 2s, battle armors.
I brought, dude. So
a lot of Tortoise 2s, a lot of Dasher H's with flamer elementals,
more choppers this year. I had to at the end of the tournament, people were doing circles, talking and chatting, and I was just like walked over to one circle full of people I mostly hadn't met yet, and one guy was upset about the Tortoise 2s. There were words like they're broken and Alpha Strike is broken or whatever. And I had to literally slowly back away because I brought two. I was just like, all right, nice to meet you guys. I was like, I was one of the people with the Tortoise 2s. Lots of Tortoise 2s. At least 3 lists.
Yeah.
I mean,
Carrie's, yours,
they're great.
The guy I fought.
They're good. They're good. They're really good.
But if you kill the transport, they just die. So
that's a big if, though.
Yeah.
If. Like I said,
a good player won't let them get killed in the transport. A bad player might.
Happened to me.
Yeah.
So do you want to do any second place stuff?
I guess I have to, considering I'm...
Because Yeah, go ahead.
No. I'll let you do it.
I don't have the list in front of me. Second place. Well, I know you took second in best general, right?
I took second in best overall.
Best overall. Okay, that's right.
I took 270 best overall, so I was 9 points short of Carrie.
Nice. Second place for best general. Who did that go to?
That went to John Allspatch. So best sport. First place was Andrew Brake. Second was Donovan Marsh. Great to see that guy up again, and his friend Will. We had subs with them last year.
Yeah.
And third place was Steve Micel. So good job, Steve.
And what category are you talking about right now?
That's sportsman.
Okay, great.
Best painted was you for first.
Mm-hmm.
Second was Samir, of course. I would hope. I mean,
it's killer.
Third was Will Wesson. And best hobbyist, like I said, was Justin Hall. Player's choice was you.
Yeah, and because usually they don't do 2 trophies, but...
I'm sorry. Third overall was John Moger. Then third general was David Latiza.
Oh, I was just saying, I only won 2 awards because they didn't want to take it away from me because it was player's choice was voted on by the players. So Rob clarified that. He's like, normally this doesn't happen, but...
We love Dustin so much. But also, you can't... Honored. If it's
no, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's
like the player's choice makes sense. That's out of the normal the rule type things for that.
If someone else had got it, and they'd be like, "Wait, we all voted for Dustin. Why is Dustin not getting? Didn't you vote for Dustin? He gave me $20 behind the
that cost Dustin a lot of money.
Yeah,
that's not where your Patreon money goes. I need you to know that." But yeah, that was man. It's over.
It's over
for a year.
So we have here overall performance. I will just say that I am happy. I placed 13th for best general out of 52 or 53, which is much better than I did last year. I was middle of the pack last year out of 32. So I was kind of the same. I was higher placed with more people. I was happy with my tactical performance. I did better. I wasn't expecting to take best general or anything.
But you've learned a lot. You went from no games of Alpha Strike to, and like 2-3 practice games against the same person before the tournament.
No miniatures wargaming in general. Some people bring like Infinity and like Malifaux and all this other background experience. And I had... Going into the tournament last year, I had none of that.
You only had classic Battletech.
I was a classic dude. I'm like, bro, I played this technically a board game. So yeah, lots more miniatures wargaming experience this year that I brought with me. So, but I was happy, and I tried really hard for painted, and I got that. So I was super happy with that too. And I got a sick poster of a king crab shooting a jade falcon timberwolf in the face. It's like my favorite.
The prize support. Oh my gosh! And everyone gets something. I need to first say that everyone gets something.
There's enough prizes for literally everybody at the tournament. You came dead last. You got stuff. Yeah. You got swag. The tournament, the $35 you pay to go to the tournament is easily paid back in just the swag. And we took the thing from game 5, the little bunkers. The winner got to choose if they wanted the painted or the unassembled ones. So everybody got those little walls.
Nice. I love that.
Everybody got a prize. Yeah. Everybody got a t-shirt. Everybody got the little tokens. Those tokens are awesome. I need to buy more of them. When are they going to go up on the store?
I need ones of different colors is what I need.
You get fortress dice. Like it is, you got to go.
Those fortress dice failed me game 1. I need to say that because I was like, these are my initiative dice and my critical dice, and it was like, what? Why am I losing every turn?
Yeah.
But no, I would like to thank Death Ray Designs. I would like to thank Ironwind Metals, Metalcore Collectibles. They apparently like I saw their table and I was like, there's so much here. I don't know what to pick. Like I get to pick something and I was like, I don't know. There's too much.
Yeah.
Decision paralysis on picking prizes is not something I'm used to.
Feldher
had cases there. Monument Hobbies, Shadow's Edge Miniatures, Steel Warrior Studios, Stratos Miniatures. We had SOAG there. We had Greyhounds out for prizes, which was cool. We had art from Spooky777. We had Eldon Calgar, Ken Coleman, and Anthony Scroggins. So,
oh wow,
lots of posters. Yeah. They were great.
I've got a signed Scroggins poster now and a signed Randall book. I'm collecting autographs.
Just jealous.
Yeah. Well, next time, abandon your job and family and just come play Battletech with us.
That sounds like a good idea.
Denham's like, I'm not missing another one.
I'm just gonna fake my death the week before.
To be fair, I have to burn all the brownie points I collect throughout the year. I'm like, hun, dearest wife of mine,
I'm out.
This week I will not do dishes. This week I will go home and I will paint and I will scream. And there is nothing in between the two. Sleeping and screaming.
If the sound of the chaining you to the hobby bench.
Like last year, I just didn't sign up at all. At least this year I was signed up for it. Like all this stuff went bad after I signed up.
Blake knew you would be too powerful if you came.
I had a list. I had refined my list. I did not, thankfully, finish painting it before it turned out I wasn't going to go. So that took a lot of stress off of my plate.
Just what are your takeaways? Like, whether it be advice for like list building, advice for list playing. This is a 2-day 6-game tournament and there's not a lot of like experience. So like,
I mean, I don't have fun. I mean, take what you want. I'm really split on what I'm going to take. I want to take a toolbox next year, but I don't know if that's going to be fun. I don't know. It's a great time.
Win or lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. End of day one, I'm like, oh man, I'm 2 losses and a tie. Like, ugh. Like still the most fun I'm having, not at work. So there's that.
There's that.
Rub it in, Josh. Rub it in.
I'm sorry. Someone else got called into work. I will say, if I had to go back, I'd probably take 1 artillery unit and a flak unit.
Yeah. Because
there were a lot of infantry blobs. You took one, and I fought it a couple times. I'm like, wow, this 2 health unit is holding an objective, and I just need to swat it. And that's what artillery is good at.
Yep.
Or VTOL. Like I either take
I was going to say, is VTOL immune to artillery?
No.
Okay.
You got to be higher. You got to be like 3 inches off the board. 3 inches is the magic number for VTOL.
Well, yeah, but like Josh's VTOL can go up to 10. It can go way high.
Yeah.
So once they're up a certain level, are they immune? Is that what you're saying?
If they're outside of the range, I'm pretty sure they cannot be hit by artillery. There is a rule.
Okay.
I have to double check that.
It's okay. We can look that up later.
Yeah.
But
then they're at that range of shooting shooting too.
Yeah. And artillery, artillery, arrow 4 IS, whatever, the 2 points of damage, that kills the Dasher H.
Yeah, it does. It does. It kills a lot of infantry too, especially if it's been damaged. I mean, a lot of infantry.
Now,
I say that.
And it breaks up the Death Star.
It breaks up Death Stars. It clears infantry. But I do think there is another thing where we aren't playing with like precision alternate ammos. And that's another key. So in the Fortress 375 format, artillery is very good for that.
Fast. Yeah.
VTOLs, you just need flak because everyone's like, oh, well, if I can put a cheap VTOL in your rear, that's all I need.
And you just need the 1 point. I will say my VTOLs, when they got hit with 1 point of damage or whatever, 50% of the time it was nosedive. They were dead. The other 50% of the time they were 50% movement and TMM. So now they're 11 inches, 3 altogether. So they shortly died after that. And rarely did they survive the first hit.
Yeah. Well, my list for Nova only had 1 flak, and it was a flak 0 star. So even when I hit, I only did damage half of the time. But my new list had a few more flaks.
So we're already starting building lists for next year, right? Because we all went home, we crashed, and the next day we're like, I've been in list building mode for 2 weeks. I need to stay in that mode.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, critiques, comments?
So we're 4 hours in.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like super, super lots of fun.
If you had to pick a tournament to go to, would it be Southern Assault?
It's the only one I've been to.
Denham hasn't gone to it, but he's been to other ones.
You got one guy who hasn't been to anything else and one guy who hasn't been to it.
And then you got me.
Yeah, I like the concept of it not like Nova is a convention that has that's built around tournaments, but it's a convention. Like Southern Assault, I didn't realize was just a tournament. There's no extra stuff. It's just distilled tournamentness, which there's a big appeal for that. Like
you get to hang out. Like
that
is the best part of going.
Part of a tournament is hanging out. I'm saying that there's not vendors. There's it's
no
not a convention, right? There's not cosplaying. There's not this and that. It's just
game and vibe.
It's all just surrounded around the tournament. It's pure
distilled Alpha Strike.
So I need to go so that I can add that to my experiences, and then I'll let you know if I prefer that or something with a bit of cosplay.
Aww.
What about you, Josh? Nova or tournament in convention or Southern Assault? Got to answer your own question now.
I mean, I knew I'd have to, but Southern Assault is 2 days, and technically you could do Nova for 2 days and just do like the weekend tournament stuff. If it was just that, I would 100% say Southern Assault, because everyone there is there for the same reason. They're all Battletech players. Like, you're not like in line trying to fight against Warhammer or Infinity players. It's like everyone there you talk to is there for the same reason. So you got one thing in common with them.
Making Blake jokes, making Kerensky jokes.
Yeah. Everyone gets the same jokes. Everyone's having a good time. The number of food and like things I've shared, like, hey, hold this, blah, 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 cannot be beat at Southern Assault. It's the best thing to go to. It's why I was like, hey, as soon as I go, I'm picking stuff up for next year while already at the event. Like, I'm already thinking about going next time. I'm like, Nova? I don't know. We'll see. LVO? I don't know. We'll see. See how it goes this year. Then we might take a look. So I'm like, oh, it's a great time every time.
Well, I'll be the judge of that next year.
All right. Now we've got
cool. Well, it sounds like you guys had a lot of fun. I mean, I'm sure that there's still a lot of stories that you haven't told, but it's going to have to, you're still processing. It's been a week, less than a week, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember recovering from Nova, so I'm sure that it's going to take a bit for Southern Assault, too.
I wore sandals cleaning up the house before Southern Assault. I was like, I can't step on glass again.
He can be taught.
Josh has 2 weaknesses: the 3 objectives in the center and glass.
Yeah.
And we are going to close out the episode tonight with a fan favorite, field reporter Dustin, getting all of the fun hot takes straight from the battlefield. Until next time, keep those reactors hot and those C-bills flowing.
My name's Steve, and I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, so you're returning, or is this your first time at Southern Assault?
This is my first time playing Alpha Strike, period. So first time at Southern Assault.
Excellent, excellent. Are you having a good time this year?
I've had a riot. Everyone's been very kind. Not nearly as bad as some of the Warhammer 40K tournaments I've been at. Really enjoying myself.
Yeah, just a little less sweaty. What unit has surprised you so far? Like, what did somebody put on the table and you're like, oh man, I didn't even know this thing existed, and now it's kicking my butt, or not kicking your butt?
That would be your Seraph.
Calling me out. And what's been your favorite part of the tournament so far? I bet I can guess your answer, but
favorite part of the tournament?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Oh, well, okay. If we're doing the whole thing, Friday night when we had a practice game, we got to do Crabback 2022. We had John. He brought all of his hunchbacks. I brought all my crabs, and we duked it out. Unfortunately, the crabs did not win, but I blame a lucky headshot on the king crab that really swung it in his favor. But it was a great game. Had a lot of fun. Learned a lot.
We'll have a rematch next year. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Let me know where you're coming in from and what your name is.
My name is Chris. I'm coming from Tennessee. and I came here to shoot things.
So are you a returning player, or is this your first time at Southern Assault?
Well, this is my first time at Southern Assault. I've been in many tournaments before.
What unit has surprised you so far? What did somebody throw on the table and you were just like, oh man, I didn't even know that existed. Now I got to deal with it.
It was a VTOL because it had 22-inch movement and it had a 5 close range. And so,
ooh, that's sick.
Yeah. So that kind of caught me off guard, but I killed them. They're dead.
Got to kill them. You punish them for their sins.
I mean, I'd already lost the game, but that's okay. They're still dead.
What's your favorite part of the tournament so far? The whole thing. Doesn't have to be any part of the game, or take your pick.
I've just enjoyed spending time with other Battletech players. It's nice you can go into a place and with 50 plus people, and you can talk about something you really love, and everyone knows exactly what you're talking about. So, and all my games have been pretty good so far. So,
excellent. Thanks for your time. You want to go? Sure. All right. Let me. Where are you coming in from? What's your name?
This is Thomas from Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville, represent.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to ask you mostly the same questions, which I haven't memorized yet. So, are you a returning player, or is this your first time out at Southern Assault?
This is my first time at Southern Assault.
You having a good time?
Absolutely.
All right. So, what kind of unit did you see so far? We're Game 5, by the way. For context, we're coming into Game 6. What surprised you?
I completely underrated heavy LRM carriers because they can just nuke whatever's on an objective.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, indirect fire is no big deal until it just takes your stuff off the table. What's been your favorite part of the tournament so far?
I just like being around other people that know Battletech, so I don't have to explain how everything began over and over. It's like, yeah, we know. Claners and Drax. Got it.
That's right. Everybody else, you're like, okay, step one's big stumpy robots and their eyes glaze over. But here, you can just drop Kerensky jokes and people get them.
Absolutely. I love it.
All right. Thank you for your time. John from MRC, right? MRC, not MRBC. Yeah. MRC.
Sure you can let me on the podcast again?
I don't know. Josh might have to charge you some for extra time.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. So this is John. Where are you coming in from, John?
Middle Tennessee.
Excellent. You brought the whole Tennessee crew out with you, did you?
I did. I try to represent.
All right. So first time at Southern Assault, or you've been out already?
No, this is my first time here.
Excellent. You having a good time?
I have a fantastic time.
All right. So what surprised you in the tournament so far?
The Ares was kind of cool from Josh's list. I've seen a lot of mixed lists too. I think that's kind of cool. Clan and industry units combined.
Yeah, it's Clan era, guys. You can take both. It's okay. It's fluffy. It's legal.
It is. It's just different. I mean, I'm not used to it, so it throws me for surprise. Someone's like, okay, here's a wolf trap, and then here's a fire falcon. And you're like, oh, cool.
What is this nonsense? All right. Favorite part of the tournament so far?
It has been playing 6 games of Battletech.
Right? That's like half a year's quota for me, all in one day.
Yeah, exactly. For a lot of players, that's half a year or more.
And my wife doesn't have to hear me complain about not rolling dice anymore, at least for a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah, it'll be just a couple days for me. I mean.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Oh, yes. All right, so let me know your name and where you're coming in from.
My name is Tai John Moger. I'm from my family's on Turtle Bay, and I say kill 'em all.
Okay.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. Oh no. Coming in hot. All right. Is this your first time at Southern Assault, or are you a returning player?
No, this is my first time at Southern Assault. I'm here with the Nashville crew.
All right. Welcome. Yeah. Represent Nashville. Shout out. All right. So what has surprised you? What do you see on the table that kind of shocked you this game?
Well, I think you said it best. We're an Clan, and there's just so much stuff in the Dark Age that is powerful. I've gone up against 2 Vulture Mark IVs, and I'm looking at one now because I can bring one with the Draconis Combine.
Yeah, Vulture Mark IV, is that the 962 or something?
One of the variants is, but I think the minimum damage you're gonna be doing on is like 5 or 6, which is great. XL engines are not bad anymore when you're playing with multiple attack rolls, so it's definitely making me rethink my list building.
Yep. Yeah, no, the XLs, why pay for the structure? Why pay? Yeah. Okay, let's see. What else do we got here? Oh, yeah. What's been your favorite thing about the tournament so far?
Meeting people who love the hobby. Nashville's pretty big for Battletech, but it's great meeting people from all over who love what I love here with Battletech.
Thank you for your time.
You have a good one, man.
My name is Chris. I come from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
North Carolina represent. All right, so is this your first time out, or are you a returning player?
This is a return year for me. This is the second year of Summoner Assault for me and my buddy.
Welcome back. What unit has surprised you in the tournament so far? What just did somebody drop on the table? You're like, I didn't even know this existed. Now I got to deal with this crap.
I haven't really had that issue. It's kind of been the reverse. Everyone goes, "What is that?" I said, "Oh, they're volley artillery trucks." They're like, "Artillery trucks," and then they're surprised. I tell them, "Yeah, they hit on 6s." And then I've had some looks, but they're not that bad.
Yeah, I got that Urban Mech skill 2 life, so I'm kind of feeling you. I've only brought one artillery piece though. But how many points are your trucks?
The volleys at skill 2 are only 27 battle value, which is pretty good. I don't know if any other artillery in the game can get that cheap at skill 2.
I don't know either. I saw some field artillery that was pretty cheap, but once. Yeah. All right. So, what's been your favorite part of the tournament so far?
Oh, it was definitely round 2. Since I brought my Starleague Royal Defense Force, I got to go against the Taurian Concordat, and it couldn't get any more thematic than that. It was the best. I mean, we both looked at her and went, dude! It was a great match.
The hegemony will prevail.
Oh, we kept order within the Star League.
That's right. Thank you for your time.
Not a problem, man. Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
All right, where are you coming in from, Dan?
Washington, D.C.
All right. So are you a returning player, or is this your first time at Southern Assault?
I am a lucky returning player.
That's right. We hung out last year. But I'm asking the same questions for everybody. Not everybody listening is going to know that. But anyways, so what surprised you? What did somebody put on the table and you're like, that's a surprise?
Everything's been different. I don't think there's been any super surprises besides meta changing. Actually not as much artillery as not as many LRMs as I was thinking there would be. Just big beefy mechs with low skills.
Just hammer time with those low skill big mechs, right?
Pretty much.
All right, what's been your favorite part of the tournament?
Favorite player or play?
Favorite part. Any doesn't have to be part of the playing experience or whatever. It could be anything.
Oh, I got those weird enchiladas last night. Maybe it was all those chips we ate.
Yeah, right? That's my favorite part. Came all the way out to Raleigh, not Raleigh, but Winston-Salem, North Carolina to eat some enchiladas.
Enchiladas that I've never seen before, yeah. That's going to be about it because, the gaming has been subpar on my end.
All right. Thank you for your time.
No problem, man.
That's okay. So I'm going to ask you anyways. Let me know your name and where you're coming in from.
I am Michael Bryant. I am from Charlotte.
North Carolina, represent. All right, Michael. So is this your first time at Southern Assault, or are you a returning player?
First time.
How you feeling about it?
I'm having fun. It's a good time. Learned about it from your podcast.
No kidding. All right, a listener. Thanks for listening. I'm always flattered. Why do people listen to us talk?
I want to see it more often. I'm like.
All right. So what surprised you so far? What did somebody put on the table and you're like, surprise, I've never had to deal with this, or not?
This dude's LRM carriers and his party van.
Party van full of infantry?
No, the LRM partisan. Oh, partisan. Well, I call it party van. Yes.
All right. And what's been your favorite part about the tournament so far?
Just getting to play. I don't get enough time to play, so it's good to come out here and have some dedicated dice rolling, stompy mech action. So
I feel you. I don't have to bother my wife about rolling dice for maybe 2 or 3 weeks after Southern Assault.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. All right. Let me get your name and where you're coming in from.
I'm Ryan Burns, and I'm local. So I live right here in Walkertown.
You lucky duck. All right. So you're a returning player? Or is this your first time out, down the road from where you live?
Yeah, I was here last year, so this is my second year doing Southern Assault.
Excellent. Any surprises for you?
Lots of people running heat. I had a lot of mechs that I do not have overheat on that ended up shutting down, so that was not something I expected to have.
That's sweaty. That's real sweaty. Overheat all the way to the point of shutdown. Two max heat per turn, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, well that
flamers, so I'd stick to the rules. They're probably so. I'm not going to stop shooting. I'm going to keep shooting even if I'm starting to overheat, so it's going to happen.
There you go. All right, and what's been your favorite parts about the tournament?
I really like getting to see lists that I don't usually play. Like, the guys around here don't use a lot of flamers, so it sucked to get hit with that many flamers, but it was also neat to see that new mechanic that I'm not used to playing up against.
That's always the coolest part about having just people from outside of the group come in and kind of blow the meta up. I love it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm excited for next year. Hopefully we can convince them to make it a biannual thing instead of a once a year. Biannual's twice a year, right? Or is that,
I think so.
Or is that semi-annual? Whichever one gets us an extra round.
There we go. All right, thank you for your time.
All right,
let me know what your name is and where you're coming in from.
Hi, this is Will Parr. I'm coming from Anderson, South Carolina. It's close to Clemson.
Oh, okay. So I guess your drive was like what?
3.5 hours with no traffic, and more like 4.5 because Friday I had in Charlotte.
All right, half a day. That's not too bad. You a returning player, or is this your first time out at Southern Assault?
This is my second time coming to the tournament.
Welcome back. So has anything surprised you? Like, what unit or tactic has surprised you?
So I wasn't surprised to see C3I, but I was impressed to see it on the table. Another Will did a great job. Will Wesson did a great job using that. It's my own C3 Lance. So.
Oh, nice. So you guys actually had some C3 interaction, some ECM interaction?
Yeah, a lot of electronic warfare, for sure.
All right, and what's been your favorite part of the tournament so far?
Probably just, getting to play some games. There's not really Battletech players near me, so I appreciate the opportunity to play.
That's right. Roll the dice. That's what we're here for. That's what we paid for, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, thank you for your time, Will.
Thank you.
All right, Dustin, thanks for doing that field reporting. And everyone else, thanks for listening to our Southern Assault 2022 recap. You can catch us next time where we talk all about all the special pilot abilities that make your pilot stand out.